More positive information to come on in across that way in terms of reflectivity. Right now, still very broad, but nonetheless, this is the area of concern. And this storm cell, as I go ahead and move out of the picture, broaden the picture right here for you so you can see where it's going. It's traveling to the east-northeast at relatively 35 miles per hour. So let's go back and look over what we do have for the bigger picture across the area as we're keeping our eyes on potential more tornado warnings to pop on up. Right now, we just have that one, but we do have the potential for more as this entire highlighted yellow area is underneath that tornado watch through 4 o'clock. We already have seen a little bit of some rotation with a cell earlier on today, and thankfully, though, it was over water. We did have this imagery coming on in from our partners with the saltwater recon. That's a water spout. And that was over in the Bayou Vista area, and this cell was traveling to the northeast, just north of Galveston, pushing in towards the Galveston Bay area, relatively about 15 to 20 miles per hour. This was during the 7 o'clock hour, but there you can see that little protrusion right there, clearly a funnel cloud coming down, and then just at the surface, we did see a little bit of some interaction with the water, indicating there was a touchdown, so that was a tornado that was confirmed over water. That was a water spout. Well, as we look at the timing of this cell line coming on in, this whole line of potential strong to severe thunderstorms coming through, we can map it out for you right here. It'll be making its way through the spring area as we make your way throughout the next several minutes, then heading in towards the heart of the city by about the time we get towards the top of the hour, about 9 o'clock, maybe 9:15 or so. This whole line of cells is pushing to the east-southeasterly direction at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So it'll be making its way towards Brazos ports around 10:30, towards Galveston, towards the 10:43 time frame, and out towards Port Arthur and pushing down to the coastal areas between the 11 to 12 o'clock hour. Let's go ahead and look back at what we do have for the latest imagery as we're seeing the latest scans coming on in from the National Weather Center. And we are noticing that there is now reports of a tighter couplet, indicating we have a tighter gate-to-gate shear going on in the Pinehurst area, and that is impacting portions of southern Montgomery County, northern Harris County. So if you're in this vicinity, in the Pinehurst area, Oklahoma, towards the Woodlands, you need to get into your safe spot. Make sure you get away from any walls that have windows. You want to get into the interior portion of your home. Make sure you can find a way to maybe be inside a nice tight enclosure like a bathroom or a closet. If you happen to have a bicycle helmet, for instance, that's a good thing to have. Reason why, if any debris comes flying around, whether it's a tornado or not, you can still get some strong winds coming on in. You don't want anything to impact your head. So grab that bicycle helmet, get into your safe spot, ride this system out, and it will be moving in and out quickly. So thankfully, it's not a long-term event, but nonetheless, this could be impacting you within a matter of minutes. Again, we have a tornado warning up in effect till 8:30 this morning and across for southern Montgomery through northern Harris, where we do see the potential of the Woodlands, Chateau Woods, Rayford, Woodlock, over towards Oklahoma, Pinehurst, Decker Prairie, and Tomball in this warning area. So if, like you said, if you are in that polygon, you need to seek shelter right away. If you're on the roadways and you're getting this notification via our KHU 11 app, you should definitely find a way to get off the roadways, get into a safe spot so you're not caught off guard out in the open. Let's go ahead and put this in towards a lapse for you over the past 15 minutes or so we can see that tighter gate-to-gate shear, that tighter couplet now trying to form. And it's relatively over in this vicinity right here. So this cell is pushing away from Pinehurst, away from 249, heading towards the east-northeasterly direction. So soon, it'll be going in towards the Oklahoma area, just north of the Woodlands, soon going in towards the I-45 corridor by the time we get towards about maybe 825, towards 827 or so. So heading down towards the city on your commute, now you need to know, you need to find a different route or just make sure you can ride the system out and stay in a safe spot, avoid this highlighted area. Again, we're underneath a tornado watch till 4 o'clock this afternoon, although this watch will likely be taken down before that because of this fast-moving line of thunderstorms that is coming on in with a cold front. That'll be a big game changer. Definitely sweep out this warm, muggy air, giving us some much more pleasant, cooler air, but also breezy, gusty winds as well as we make our way in towards later on today and in towards tonight. All right, and as I'm looking across the region for any more warnings, we have a new tornado warning. This one is up in effect across the eastern portions of Chambers County, just pushing towards the Beaumont area, up in effect till 8:45. Let's go ahead and see the reflectivity so we can see if we have any strong signature of a tornado possibly forming or on the ground. And as I move on in across towards the area right here, Let me turn the lightning data off because it's definitely showing a very energetic storm cell. And we can see right there if those winds going towards the radar dish this direction and going away right here. There is a much more tighter couplet being found up in this vicinity just east of Chambers County. I'm going to go ahead and put this into motion for you over the past 15 minutes. And we can see where this cell is moving. And let me go ahead and track it for you. We have the cell moving towards the east-northeasterly direction, about 15 to 25 miles per hour. So eventual towns potentially being impacted is West Port Arthur, Taylor Landing, going in across towards the areas just on the Texas border with Louisiana. As this cell is moving towards this vicinity, you may be impacted up towards Highway 73, towards Taylor Landing, towards West Port Arthur right there, going up towards 287 and up and towards the Port Arthur area as well. So, like I said before, if you are in that vicinity, you definitely need to find your safe space. Make sure you get in towards an enclosure that is away from any open windows. Find a way to protect your head. If you don't have a bicycle helmet, just something to protect your head, just a nice hard surface, and getting towards your interior bathroom, getting towards your interior closet. Get as many walls tightly packed around you as possible. That way you can avoid any flying debris that may impact the outside of your home. As we're keeping our eye on the whole rest of the region, that's an isolated cell that is making its way towards the east-northeasterly direction, possibly going in towards the Beaumont area. If we see this line hold together, this cell hold together right here. So be heading up towards a northerly direction, relatively about 15 to 20 miles per hour, going towards Galloway, towards Beaumont. And it's these isolated cells away from the main line of thunderstorms, away from the cold front, that we're a little more concerned with, because these ones can maybe show a little more signs of rotation, like we can clearly see right there, that little gate-to-gate shear going on. So there may be a broad area of rotation trying to tighten itself up together, trying to get that wall cloud that's rotating to drop down to the surface, get a little protrusion. That's your funnel cloud, comes all the way down to the ground. Therefore, you have your tornado. And this possibly was a water spout at one point, or formed over water, and then most recently moved on land, heading in towards a northerly direction. Taking a look at what we do have for that other warning that we were keeping our eyes on, which we now have a new warning. And this one is up towards the Cypress area, coming across 290, going in towards the heart of the city, northern portions of the Beltway, the Loop as well. This tornado warning is up in place till 8:45 this morning. We can see we do have a little bit of some rotation going on. It's not as significant as we did see the other ones, but it is starting, as over the past about 10 minutes or so, starting to show a little bit more of a sign of a stronger gate-to-gate shear, showing that stronger couplet. So you may be dealing with the potential of a tornado in this vicinity forming soon, if not already in that area. Again, this cell is moving towards east-southeasterly direction, about 15 to 20 miles per hour. So if you're in this vicinity, I'm going to go ahead and highlight this whole area for you. Cypress, Jersey Village, up towards Aldine, Hawthorne Place, Hunters Creek, northern sections of the Loop, Dyersdale. You need to get into your safe spot right away. And if you're trying to maybe go out on your morning commute, I wouldn't do so. Get back inside your garage, get back inside your home, get into your interior enclosure, so that way you can avoid any potential flying debris. Whether this is a tornado or not, either way, it's producing strong winds in an isolated area that can easily kick up any loose articles in your backyard or in your neighborhood, toss it around, and then you potentially could get impacted. This tornado warning is up in effect till 8:45, and at 8:15, a severe thunderstorm was capable of producing a tornado. I'm reading the latest information from the National Weather Service. Located near Cypress, 7 miles northwest of the Addicks Reservoir area, moving to the east at 40 miles per hour. So that's a fast moving cell. So it can easily catch you off guard if you are maybe not aware of the situation at hand. So definitely, if you know anybody that has recently left, your parents, your spouse, make sure they get to their safe spot, get back inside the home. Do not go on the roadways with this cell coming on in. That it does have the capabilities of producing a tornado, but we don't have one just yet. Thankfully, that's some good news right there. Let's go back up to the cell that was to the north in the Woodlands. This cell is up in effect till 8:30. And this one is showing a little bit more of a stronger sign that we may be seeing some rotation, getting a little more organized, getting a little more of a gate-to-gate shear right there. And this would just be north of the Oklahoma area, northeast of Ventura, pushing to the east-northeasterly direction at about 30 miles per hour or so. So over in this vicinity, southern sections of Montgomery County through northern sections of Harris County, the Woodlands, Chateau Woods, Woodlock, you need to get into your safe space right away. And even though we don't have a confirmed tornado with this storm cell, there is the capability of it producing one as we go forward for the next 15 minutes or so. And we do have some information coming on in from the control room, guys. We have a water spout video we want to show you right here, showing indication of we did see some rotation earlier on from these violent storm cells. Just a moment, we're going to get that video to you in just a second. But showing you that water spout, speaking of, we did have one earlier on confirmed from the National Weather Service, and this was in Bayou Vista, just north of the Galveston area. It went across the I-45 corridor, heading in towards the Galveston Bay area at a forward speed about 15 to 20 miles per hour. Thankfully, it moved mainly over in water, so we don't know if anybody impacted just yet, but we will keep our eyes on if any information coming out in from the National Weather Service. And now we do have that video we want to show you coming in from our partners over in Saltwater Recon, and that is of the water spout out image I was just showing you. So you can clearly see as you're looking at the video, you can see the interaction with the surface of the water, that swirl, that cloudiness. Yeah, that is definitely a confirmed tornado on the water. That is a water spout moving across the Bayou Vista area, going away from the I-45 corridor, and this was heading in towards the open waters of the Galveston Bay area. Typically with these storm cells, they are short-lived. They show a quick amount of rotation and spin up, and then they start to move on away from the area they just impacted. But that's where you need to be weather aware. You need to make sure that you know of what's going on with the situation at hand, because you can quickly get a spin up to be in your vicinity, and next time there may be a tornado in your area. Let's go back in towards what we do have going on, the big picture. Talking about this cold front coming on in, and up ahead of it, we do have a tornado watch up in effect till 4 o'clock. And right now we have 3 tornado warnings up in effect across the metro area. One just east of Chambers, going just away from the Winnie area, heading in towards Beaumont. We'll cover that one in just a second. But first, we're going to go on towards the one that's over across the northern sections of the heart of the city. Coming in from this cell right here, pushing away from the Cypress area. It's moving about 30 to 40 miles per hour. You have Jersey Village, Roslyn, over towards downtown Houston, over towards Hawthorne Place, Aldine, Dyersdale. Everyone in those areas, I just called your town, you need to make sure you get in your safe spot right away, because this cell is looking like it's showing signs of strengthening, and in which case we may be getting a possible tornado warning, maybe a possible spotting of a tornado in that vicinity over there. Let's go ahead and look at the velocity, which shows us kind of like scanning the storm system if we can see any possible signs of rotation within it. And we are not seeing anything massively significant. So that's some good news right there. But if it was in a place, it'd be just outside the Cypress area. And looking for those winds that are going towards the radar dish in green, and winds going away from the radar dish in purple to red. And so whenever they're closely together, that's when we could potentially get in the possibility of the lower portion of the severe thunderstorm, that's the wall cloud, showing signs of rotation. And in which case you may get a little protrusion to come down, that would be the funnel cloud, and then after that you would get it touching down and becoming a tornado. Unfortunately though, the atmosphere is packed with moisture, so you're trying to go outside and maybe see this. If you're very curious, I wouldn't do so, because it'd be hard pressed to see anything because of all the moisture, all the mugginess in the air. So that's another reason why to be on high alert, because we could get a tornado to form. It'd be kind of obscured with all that moisture and the rainfall coming down, and then in which case you may get caught off guard and get caught in harm's way. Let's move up across the northern sections of Harris County, going in towards the southern sections of Montgomery County. We have a tornado warning up in effect for the next 7 minutes. That's this warning right here up through 8:30. It's coming across from the Oklahoma area in towards the Woodlands area. And as we take a look across this region, going in past the I-45 corridor. So if you're heading down this vicinity, you definitely need to make sure you find a different route to get to your destination, or maybe just hold off trying to go down to work or going down towards the city. It's not advised at this time frame. I can see as we scan the system right here, scanning the skies, we do see a little bit more of a sign of a possible couplet forming in this vicinity, just northeast of Oklahoma, but it's very broad. And as we take a look across the area, we'll keep our eyes if this is possibly going to strengthen or grow and develop. Meteorologist Tim Pandages is joining us here in the Weather Center. And Tim, we're going to toss it over to you, see what you see.
Yeah, as you know, very active morning as we watch that cold front roll through the area, moving very quickly to separate tornado warnings currently on the board here. You see this one until 8:30 this morning. So we've still got a little bit of a lead time on this, but the couple that Addison has been talking about is this one here. When we see the reds and greens close to one another, that's shear in the atmosphere. And when it gets consolidated, it forms into a funnel cloud. And possibly that funnel cloud can make it all the way down to the ground and become a tornado. So that's what we're watching here. This couple here north of Oklahoma heading off towards the Woodlands here and 45. We're right in the middle of that morning commute, so keep that in mind. It's racing towards the I-45 corridor. Now a little bit farther to the south, getting closer to downtown Houston. In fact, the far end of this polygon puts the north side of Houston into that tornado warning until 8:45 this morning. Not much going on out there right now, but just off towards the west, here is that couplet near Jersey Village we're watching right over Route 6. Right over Texas Route 6, so keep that in mind. This is very broad too, so that's what we like to see when it's very, very defined, when you've got the reds and greens in a small area that indicate that consolidation of that funnel cloud and that circulation in the atmosphere here. Just south of 290, south of Cypress, just to the west of Jersey Village. Now this one here, I believe, is moving like 35, 40 miles an hour, so a pretty good clip. So Jersey Village, Fairbanks area, North Houston, anybody within this polygon in the next 15, 20 minutes, even though it may be quiet now, certainly looks ominous off to the west, but it is heading in your direction. So we're watching this, and this is why that tornado warning is up there, Addison, until 8:45 this morning. This is one of 3 that are currently out there, correct?
Yes, one of 3. The other one, Tim, the third one being just east of Chambers County, and this one definitely shows a lot more potential of a stronger couple. And I'm going to go ahead and take the lightning off of here so we can clearly see, because that's a very energetic cell. And yeah, we can definitely see we got probably a tornado right there.
Right, and this was confirmed as a waterspout before it moved over land, correct? So it was on the ground over the ocean surface and moving off to the north. So this couplet here is much more well defined. This is also a tornado warning until 8:45, likely confirmed on the ground there. We'll have to see that. Can we switch that up to the correlation coefficient, Addison, and see if we actually have any indication from radar of there being debris thrown up into the air? And the radar can sometimes depict that and show us that on a certain filter that we have there. Yeah, so this could possibly be some debris getting thrown up from that debris ball shown there on radar there. So that's very, very interesting. So of the 3, this one looks to be the most imminent, with a confirmed tornado on the ground there with that particular cell lifting off towards the north. So this is out ahead of the actual cold front. So this is already interacting with that spin in the atmosphere. You've got the spin off to the north and west along the front, and out ahead of it, out of the south to southeast and southwest. So that mixing in the atmosphere, spinning things up, which is why that tornado watch is up for the entire area until 4 o'clock this afternoon. Has already verified with several tornado warnings, 3 in our area right now, 1 just off to the east of Winnie, and 2 more north side of Houston, and then down towards Conroe and Spring, another tornado warning up for you for about the next 30 minutes or so. So we're keeping a very, very close eye on this as the whole line is zipping on off towards the east at around 30 to 40 miles per hour. Addison, anything new on these 2?
Nothing yet, Tim, coming on in. Just reports from the National Weather Service saying that we may see an intense burst of wind with these storms coming through. Maybe they're moving at relatively 30 to 40 miles per hour. So people may get caught off guard if they're trying to get outside, maybe go on their morning rush.
Addison, the one south of Cypress, can we put a storm track on this and give some town names on the timing of when it could arrive? It is moving around 30 to 40 miles an hour. So Jersey Village now, you're starting to see that bowing of this line. So even outside of the potential of a tornado, we've got strong straight line winds coming right through Jersey Village there. There are some of the times there to expect this. 8:29, so just a minute from now through Cypress. Fairbanks around 8:50, and as we get past the 9 o'clock hour, the top of the hour, downtown Houston could possibly be in on this as that tornado warning is up, particularly this one, until 8:45. So this line right here is where we could see the potential of a couplet of a potential tornado there near the Cypress area, moving very quickly off to the east-southeast at around 45 miles per hour. You see the bowing of this line here, so out ahead of it, we're getting that burst of winds at the surface, and then embedded back behind the line could be some spin in the atmosphere that could be consolidating and becoming a tornado, which is why that tornado warning is there. Let's jump to the north one, Addison, and put a storm track on that one as well, if we possibly can. Cypress area here, we're watching this one, Satsuma, Jersey Village. So there's that tornado watch for you for the entire area until 4 o'clock this afternoon. Off to the north, there's that separate tornado warning near the Spring area. This was the first of the morning, just to the south of Conroe. This is up for another minute. We'll see if it does continue to be expanded and pushed out a little bit farther on. We were watching the couplet on this, kind of looking a little bit more ragged. Which is some good news here. We'll see in just a minute if this does get extended, though. But the Woodlands area right now, not seeing much of a bow of the line, which is good, but still that embedded circulation could possibly be making it down to the surface. Even if it doesn't make it all the way to the surface, the winds are still whipping around there. So here is that couplet right there. Definitely doesn't look as well as it did earlier, Addison. So that's some good news there.
And actually, yes, they just allowed that tornado warning to expire. expired.
Perfect.
That one is up for an effect till 8:30 for Harris County, northern portions of Harris County, southern Montgomery County. So that one has been allowed to expire. They don't see a strong sign of rotation, Tim, so that's some good news right there.
Perfect. So one down. We still have two active across the area. So a little farther south, this is the one that includes north side Houston and heading towards the I-45 corridor. And of course, you've got the major interstates and routes there in the middle of rush hour. So we're watching that closely. This is the couplet here. This also, Addison, not looking all that defined, which is great news there. But this would be the area we'd be watching for the potential of a spin-up of a tornado, which was what warranted this tornado warning here, just south of North Houston, right around the Jersey Village area, over 290 towards Fairbanks.
And as we take a look at Tim, go ahead and put a storm track on this so we can see what towns may be impacted. You can see right there all the way through the 9 o'clock hour.
Right, Roslyn coming up at 8:43. So this particular warning is up for 15 more minutes until 8:45. With the structure of this, as we're seeing it on velocity, so what you're looking at here is the reds and greens. Those are winds moving in different directions. When they're close together like that, you get the spin. So think of it like putting a pencil in between your hands and spinning it like that. That's exactly what we're looking at here in terms of the wind profile and the wind shears here. Moving through Jersey Village, Fairbanks at 8:38, Houston just before the top of the 9 o'clock hour. Addison?
And Tim, we just got a word from the National Weather Service. They're allowing that warning to continue till 8:45 a.m. with it's possibly making its way towards from Jersey Village in towards northern sections of the Houston metro area. But for right now, we're going to bring you back towards Great Day, Houston. Sorry, toss to Stephanie.
All right, Addison, yes, I will take it from here, and we're taking a look at the roadways. Surprisingly, but luckily, no accidents out there. We are past the height of morning rush. That happened in the 7 o'clock hour, but I am tracking a lot of our TransStar cameras right now, and the majority of where that bad weather is going to affect you is on 249. So folks doing the long-haul commute out of Magnolia, Tomball, Corville, heading towards the Beltway, it is really coming down. I also want to mention 290, very dangerous to drive right now. So if you're coming out of Hockley, Cypress, Jersey Village, anything close to the West Beltway, that is going to be an intense drive for you. If you can wait to get out on the roads, definitely do so, and really pay attention to the timeline of this rain and this storm from Addison and Tim. Right now, as I mentioned before, no active crashes out there, no high water spots at this point. Hopefully that stays the case, but right now, really tracking those cameras very closely. Tim and Addison.
Yeah, thank you, Steph. And was keeping our eyes on those roadways where we're hoping everyone gets the chance to get into their safe spot, get off the roadways, because you're not going to get caught off guard by these strong thunderstorms moving through the region. So I'm meteorologist Addison Green with meteorologist Tim Pantages joining us in the Weather Center. And Tim, we've seen one warning allowed to be canceled, but we still have two more we're keeping our eyes on.
Right, two more. One does include the north side of Houston. So why don't we start there, Addison? I'll take it for you. You can go out there at the wall and I'll move it around for you. But yeah, it's looking like the circulation overall is a little bit more ragged.
Yeah, we can definitely see it's a little more ragged just north and west of Jersey Village, where that cell was indicating the possibility of showing that stronger couplet a little while ago. That's why the National Weather Service allowed that warning to continue until 8:45. But for the time being, you can see where that couplet might be located. Tim's drawing it right here on the map for you, just north of 290, north of the Jersey Village area. And this cell is moving to the southeasterly direction at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. So it's a fast-moving cell, and it's a part of a large cold front, fast-moving line of thunderstorms heading on down to the southeast at that same forward pace. So as you go ahead and take a look right here at the towns that potentially could be impacted over the next 35 minutes or so, over in towards the Capitol Medical Center, close to 8:48, Highland Heights around 8:49, Aldine 8:52, and then Hawthorne Place about 8:55. All of this involves the towns just located north of the loop, south of the Beltway, right in towards the portion of the Beltway right there. And Tim, we can certainly see it's a strong line of thunderstorms making its way towards that vicinity.
It absolutely is. And outside of the threat of a tornado in this tornado-warned storm, we have the line itself that's starting to show these bows. So it's the winds racing out ahead of the line right there. That's really giving some gusty winds, straight line winds on top of the tornado threat within this particular line here, Addison.
And that's one of the biggest concerns, that even though, Tim, we may not get a tornado warning for every portion of this line, you can still get some strong straight line winds to come down as we get those little bowing segments, little fast ejection of wind coming on in along the main line that may punch its way down to the surface and may get a wind gust of 50, 60 miles per hour inside your vicinity. As we zoom on down across towards the portions of western North Houston, just going right around the beltway right there, we can see what we do with that tornado warning in place. And Tim, that's a much more tighter couple signature than what we just saw the past radar cycles.
Yeah, absolutely. It's looking a little more ragged. It's spreading out a little bit more. So that shows us that it's either the funnel cloud is dispersing a little bit aloft, not making it actually to the ground, and starting to kind of dissipate into the overall circulation.
Yeah, which is some good news right there. Hopefully we can see this warning being taken down as we make our way towards 8:45 a.m. So we got 10 more minutes to go with that warning. And Tim, as we go ahead and check out the other warning up there just east of Chambers County, this one is certainly looking like it's not going to go away anytime soon. Yeah,
that one is much more defined. You can see the greens embedded with some pretty bright red colors there, and that's the winds heading in opposite directions, and that's a little bit worrisome there. In fact, we were looking at the correlation coefficient earlier, Addison. Let me pull that back up to see if we still have any evidence of any debris there, and it looks like possibly we do way south of 73 and Taylor Landing.
So definitely we did see a tornado come down, confirmed at least from the radar signatures right here. We'll see what the National Weather Service says after the fact, but nonetheless, you can see these are brighter red highlighted colors. That's more of the same median, the same type of material, like just rainfall coming down. But getting this mix right here of brighter colors inside that type of median indicates we may have other items in there, like debris, for instance, like portions of a home or maybe a car getting tossed up. So Tim, definitely we can see possibly there may be some debris, maybe even debris bulb right there from a possibly maybe strengthening tornado.
Right, and this has been kind of robust for the last 20-30 minutes. So even after it moved over water as a water spout, typically when they move over land, they don't hold together all that well. They dissipate quickly, not so much in this case.
And this is what we were concerned with when we were talking about this yesterday, too, was dealing with the potential of those rogue cells up ahead of the main line showing more signs of rotation. Those are the ones being of higher concern, and this one definitely proved to be true. And Tim, what are we looking at right here?
Yeah, this is the spectral width. Okay. So another way to kind of depict what's going on in the atmosphere with the wind shear, the gate-to-gate, that's very pronounced.
Yeah, absolutely so. And meteorologist Tim Payet just joining us in the Weather Center. Our meteorologist Addison Green dealing with multiple tornado warnings across the metro area. One was allowed to expire on the border of the Woodlands and Montgomery County with Harris County. Have one now in central portions of Harris County, and this other one just east of Chambers County.
Yeah, and let's start out here with the wider picture because we were kind of zoomed in and showing localized areas. But overall, the setup here is primed for the tornado threat. We had talked about this front coming our way for several days now, and as it's encountering this wind that is out of the southeast out ahead of it, wind shifting behind it, we're overall spinning the atmosphere and tossing it up. It's very kind of active and robust right now. So we're spinning up a tornado here that's out toward Winnie south of Beaumont. This is outside of the line itself, Addison. We've still got the cold front itself that's spinning up tornado warnings too.
Yeah, so we're definitely not out of the woods at all, Tim, as we are seeing those rogue cells staying just east of the metro area, thankfully. But this cold front is making its way eastward at a forward pace of 30 to 40 miles per hour. Even though if you may not get a tornado warning in your vicinity, you will still have to deal with the possibility of some strong straight line winds that could kick up some debris and possibly throw some objects in towards your home.
All right, as it looks like the tornado warning, we're probably going to see this expire because they've now replaced it with a severe thunderstorm warning for that same cell. Because we've been watching this kind of fall apart in terms of the velocity signature on this, and we look at that in particular to see the shifting of the winds within a cell. And this is what we're looking at here. It's really not all that impressive anymore, which is great news. So even though there still is a tornado warning for that cell until 8:45 for about another 7 minutes, there is now also overlapping at a severe thunderstorm warning for an extra half an hour after that till 9:15.
And that severe thunderstorm warning, Tim, probably mainly concerned with the potential of strong straight line winds coming on in excess of 50 to 60 miles per hour. Hail is not too much of a concern with this cold front coming on in. It's more of a wind threat and that potential tornado threat as we have that tornado watch up till 4 o'clock at the latest, although likely will be expiring earlier because of how quickly, Tim, this line is moving.
Yeah, and you talked about the strong straight line winds. You can see by North Houston down through Highland Heights, Fairbanks, the line itself is starting to show a bowing signature. So that's the winds racing out ahead of it. A lot of it's kicking up a lot of dust and debris and stuff. So that's getting picked up by the radar here and likely some of these cells out by Hunter Creek.
And this is, Tim, being aided by a very strong, energetic jet stream up aloft. That's why we are seeing that potential of strong straight line winds and that bowing out as the winds up aloft are racing and punching down towards the surface, pushing their way through that line of thunderstorms.
Yeah, and elsewhere, even south of where those severe thunderstorm warnings and a tornado warning is, out by Sugarland, we're starting to see things pick up there. Richmond, Needville, Warren, El Campo, all along 59 there. Rains are extremely heavy. And on top of that, we took the lightning off for a bit. Pretty electrified line here, not overwhelming amount of lightning, but certainly there is evidence of a good amount of it.
Thankfully, Tim, this line is coming in during the early portion of the day as opposed to later, because if we had all that daytime heating to work with, we would definitely see a much more energetic line of thunderstorms and possibly see more tornado warnings pop on up across the metro area.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take another look here, Addison, and check on these velocities for both of the cells. So the one over near the Aldine area headed towards Hawthorne Place, Roslyn, Jersey Village that moved through there. This was the signature here, and I'm going to circle it to show you what we're talking about. This right here, it's kind of disconnected now over Highland Heights. So we've got wind direction going in one direction here and wind speeds over Fairbanks going in the opposite. So there's a little bit of a difference, a space in between. That's not usually typical of seeing a tornadic signature. So that's good news.
Yeah, very good news right there. We want to keep away from seeing those tight colors together, those tight couplets forming, indicating winds going towards the radar dish in green, getting brighter, and going away from the radar dish in red, getting brighter as well, because when that happens, that's when we could potentially see that lowering of the wall cloud and then possibly seeing a tornado form there afterwards.
Yeah, so this tornado warning, we're probably going to watch this expire in 4 minutes. They've replaced it with that severe thunderstorm warning. So still the threat is there for gusty, damaging winds. Just the tornadic threat is really waning with this particular cell here. We're not out of the woods. We've still got that tornado watch up until 4 o'clock this afternoon, even though we expect that line to be long gone by then, as it moves on through to a very moist, very unstable air mass, as you said, at a good time, because it's not the middle of the day when we have that daytime heating to cook things up. But there's still enough there to warrant this threat.
Yeah, definitely so, Tim. Thankfully, we have this in our favor, and hopefully everyone stays off the roadway, stays out of harm's way. But we do see from our tracker on 290 going westbound how it is looking with all that heavy rain coming down from the strong line of thunderstorms pushing on in. And Tim, we can certainly see that the rain is coming down at a very vigorous pace, so visibility may go down from time to time.
Right, and we're at a time now, too, where there are a lot of people on the roads. I just came in here and counted a good amount of traffic on the way in on 69. So there's people out there that will be sitting in this traffic and sitting on the roadways exposed to some of these strong winds. So we got to be aware of that, too.
Yeah, so hopefully if you are in your vehicle right now, you're listening to us on your KHU 11 app, for instance, you need to make sure you can get off the roadway, get out of the open areas and get in towards a safe space where you can ride out the storm system, because this is a fast moving line of thunderstorms. So that's some good news right there. It won't be here all day, but bad news, it's coming in and coming in very quickly. Right,
and here's a 2-hour loop, Addison, to show you how quickly this line has been moving. 2 hours ago, it was out by Bryan, and now it's pressing in on downtown Houston. So give it another 2 hours, and it'll be pushing on through the Galveston area and then clearing our whole viewing area by then as well. So probably by lunchtime, easily, this will be gone.
Yeah, especially for some of our northwestern counties, Washington County, Austin County, you guys will be in the clear by lunchtime, but Galveston County in towards Chambers County, not so much. And Tim, just noticing from the past several cycles of that radar imagery, those isolated cells just ahead of the line starting to get themselves beefed up. So we may be seeing the possibility of some signs of rotation from those storms, like we did see that one right there going just east of Chambers County.
Right, and here's velocities on that one that still has, it looks like they've now issued a secondary tornado warning on this. I'll throw the numbers back on here to see when that is up until 9:15. So yeah, it's holding together. We've got a pretty good signature on this by Taylor Landing, although not as intense as it was just the last run. So that's good news there. It's a little bit more spread out here near Taylor Landing, right over 73 south of Port Acres. So winds are whipping there. In fact, let me put some numbers on here to see what kind of wind speeds we may be looking at.
And Tim, while you're looking at those numbers, we can see a view from downtown right here, watching the line pushing in towards the heart of the city. Just want to add that in there for you.
Yes, 60-mile-per-hour winds possibly with this, indicated by radar too. So we're not all that far from the radar site here, so it's picking it up, getting rather close to the surface. So that's a little bit interesting there. 60-mile-an-hour winds, of course, could cause some damage. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So whether it's to your vehicle or to yourself, either way, you want to make sure you are out of the picture in terms of this storm system coming in towards your vicinity. So you're thinking about going on your morning commute, hold on, ride it out, or maybe just stay home if the storm cell moving through your vicinity, especially just east of Chambers County. It's a very energetic cell, with us dealing with the warning now extended till 9:15. And we also want to go back out towards where our weather tracker is, up in the 290 area, I believe heading in towards the Cypress area control room. Going up 290, pushing in past Jersey Village, going in towards Cypress. So we're definitely seeing where the heavy rain is coming down now in the wake of that initial line of the thunderstorms coming on in. So we're just getting past the worst part of the line, but we can still see the heavy rain coming down. That'll still be a big concern for about the next 1 to 2 hours or so, Tim.
Yeah, and let's look at this again, too, on the velocities, because this is kind of how we're gauging the threat in terms of this cell here. It is going to be allowed to expire the tornado warning in about a minute because it's been replaced with a severe thunderstorm warning. So you see this little couplet here near Hawthorne Place, right over 45. Certainly, it's definitely windy there, but I don't see really any evidence of this being a tornado anymore. Let's put some numbers on this in terms of the wind speed. So getting up to nearly 50 miles an hour out by this area, and certainly some of that could be mixing down to the ground, considering we have the heavy rain, and that heavy rain is drawing down the stronger wind gusts. So that area along 45, Highland Heights, Roslyn area, Fairbanks, Hawthorne Place, the Hardy Toll Road, definitely seeing some gusty winds. I just don't think it's from a tornado.
Yeah, thankfully so, Tim. We're seeing this cell becoming not as robust as it was earlier on, hence the tornado warning was put in place initially. But as these cells start to show less signs of rotation, they usually replace the tornado warnings with a severe thunderstorm warning if there's still the severe potential, and then they may issue another tornado warning if it does show signs of rotation once again. So that's why we always keep on top of these things throughout the entire ordeal, because you never know, Tim, with these cells, how quickly they may cycle back and forth between very strong to severe and weakening.
Absolutely, especially since it's moving into still a favorable area, so it could certainly spin back up. But that tornado warning has been allowed to expire. So now we just have a severe thunderstorm warning for that same area. So that's a bit of improvement. Still, the threat is there, though, for gusty winds.
Yeah, so definitely if you're over across those highlighted areas inside the orange polygon, I should say, which does include the northern sections of the loop in towards the Beltway, Hawthorne Place, Beaumont Place, Aldine, pushing in towards Highway 90 up in towards the extreme eastern portions of the polygon. You want to make sure you can ride this storm out safely. Even though there is now a tornado warning in place, there's still the potential of wind gusts in excess of 50 to 60 miles per hour as it's racing through the area at a forward speed of 30 to 40 miles per hour.
Right, and this is a 30-minute loop here, so you can see how much ground it is covering. It'll be through Houston. It'll be in Houston in the next 10 minutes or so. It's already approaching the westernmost zone, 610 corridor, Hunters Creek, Roslyn, seeing very heavy rain there, all over the major interstates and beltways, too.
And Tim, as I can hear outside our studios right here in the Galleria area, the western portion of the loop, the rain is coming down now, and it will only increase in intensity as that line pushes through. So the visibility right here, especially in those orange to red highlighted areas, may drop very quickly. So you don't want to get caught off guard going out in that. You won't be able to see not too far ahead of you down the roadways.
Absolutely. And this tornado, there's also a tornado watch here that we should highlight in that yellow watch box all out ahead of the line. It's up until 4 o'clock, but that's being a very bullish. This whole line will be gone in the next 2 hours, so it is racing, and our threat will greatly decrease from west to east within the next hour.
And Tim, as we're keeping an eye on that line as it's moving its forward progression to the east towards the coast, it's this cluster right here, just east of Cleveland, seeing those individual cells firing on up ahead of the line. So we may be seeing the potential, like we did see with those cells just east of Chambers County, of showing some possible signs of rotation. So we got to keep our eyes on those.
Yeah, that cell out by Winnie is showing very similar signatures to what's over Port Arthur right now, which does have that tornado warning on it. Because check out the signature we've been watching here with the velocities. Addison's been on it all morning here, showing as it was a water spout just off the coast near Sabine Pass, and it's moved on shore and it's held together quite well. You can see that signature right there near Port Arthur when you've got the greens and reds like a stoplight. There you go. And it's showing the signs of holding together, headed towards Port Acres as we speak.
And that's why we had that warning extended, and we can certainly see that clear rotation right there. And we also want to go ahead and take a look at how it looks outside with one of our reporters, Brittany Ford, out there. Brittany, what do you see out by you? As we're watching Brittany driving down in our weather tracker going, I believe, just west.
Sorry, guys. We had a little bit of a technical injury. A little bit of technical injury there. I got you, Addison. Yeah, we're on 290, headed towards Jersey Village. And I want to say that the camera hasn't really given it too much justice. From the naked eye here, it's really hard to see. We've seen probably about 1 or 2 really heavy rain bands come down. I don't know if you can see ahead of us some of the cars, too. A lot of cars. I mean, it's still rush hour. We've seen a lot of cars on the roadways, and you can see in front of me, a lot of them have their hazard lights on because it is coming down again in waves here. We've seen really 1 or 2 really bad heavy rain bands come through. It's been hard to see, but I will say I think people are heeding the warning. We've seen a lot of people getting off of the freeway. A lot of people kind of stopped, using their hazard lights on just to, again, make sure that they're taking their time and really just taking it easy on these roadways. But as we're heading up north and west on 290, I want to say we've really seen those rain bands pick up. It's significantly picked up in the last, 20 minutes, as you guys have been on air here just talking about that. It's definitely picked up. I got you, Addison.
And I just didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to bring everyone's attention. We have a new tornado warning up in place. Meteorologist Tim Pandages in the Weather Center. Tim, where do you see that warning coming through right now?
This is just north out to the east of Spring, south of Roman Forest. You can see it here. This is until 9:15 this morning. Roman Forest area headed towards the 69 corridor just to the northeast of Spring there. I want to show you velocities on this because this is how we can kind of pinpoint exactly where that circulation may be. It's not overly impressive here, but there certainly is the possibility of some rotation there. Even if we put it in a loop here over the last 30 minutes, you can see over there near Porter Heights, there possibly could be some spin in the atmosphere. Nothing confirmed. This is radar indicated here, and we are a ways away from the radar site, so it's picking up that spin higher aloft. If, in fact, it's reaching the ground, unknown yet, but that's why that warning is there, to be on the lookout for the potential of that.
Absolutely, Tim. And as we take a look at that entire cell going through the area, we can see several towns potentially being impacted all the way in through 9:15. So for the next about 25 minutes or so, heading up in from Porter Heights, going towards Timberland Acres, I should say. And that will be going through your area around 9:02. Around 9:05 will be pushing just to the east of the I-45 corridor and eventually making its way further towards the east, going in past Valley Ranch Elementary, going in towards the Huffman area around 9:20, and then wrapping up, hopefully, up towards 927 up in the Eastgate area, Tim.
Yeah, and this is moving around 25 miles an hour here. I'm waiting for the Weather Service to put their update on it. It's a little bit lagged, but we should be getting that any minute now. But it looks like a radar indicated tornado in this area near Porter Heights, headed towards Dogwood Acres. So it's a rather large polygon here. It goes right over 69, pushes north of Atascocita, just to the west of Eastgate. And by that point, we'll see if it holds together or not. But the velocity signatures at this point aren't all that impressive. I'm going to put a different filter on it here. This is going to be storm relative. And what that means is it's just kind of following along as the storm moves, so we can see how it's rotating with movement. And even that isn't all that impressive near Porter Heights, but certainly some gusty winds. If I throw back over to velocity and put some numbers on it in terms of what speeds we may be seeing aloft at least, looking at 25 miles an hour. So again, you got to take that with a grain of salt because this is coming from the radar that's out just to the south of the city. So it just jumped to 40 miles an hour. So certainly some gusty winds within that cell.
And thankfully, Tim, it's not as strong, not as robust as it did look earlier on, or at least from an earlier cell, I should say. But nonetheless, we do show signs of possible rotation. Hence, the National Weather Service put a tornado warning on it as we have the strong line coming through. And you can see and possibly hear coming on in from our camera up near the Galleria area. You can see how the heavy rain is coming on down now, and that is just quite impressive, Tim, how quickly that rain is falling down. I wouldn't be surprised if we see rainfall rates of like maybe 1 to 3 inches per hour.
Oh, absolutely. And this would be a really pronounced flooding threat if it was a slow-moving line.
Yes.
Thankfully, it is not that. It is moving 30, 40 miles per hour off to the east-southeast, so we're going to get that out of here pretty quickly. Certainly, we'll still drop an inch and a half of rain within that time because they're so intense, but thankfully, excuse me, it is a pretty quick-moving line.
And we can see, Tim, that right here, just across the heart of the city, like you were saying before, that bowing out segment, it's kind of like, looks like the arc of a bow, like a bow and arrow getting pulled out. And that's right here going from Aldine, curving in towards the downtown area, wrapping up in towards Heeker. So that's just where we could be seeing the strongest winds punching on down from up aloft, 34,000 feet, racing on down in towards the surface and helping to increase that rainfall potential going on in, hence the higher rates. Hence, we're seeing the brighter colors of going orange to red, especially, Tim, right across the Galleria area, heading right downtown.
Right, we just got that main kind of gust front coming on through out ahead of it, and then the heavy rain moved on into. Velocities, at least through the city, look okay. I don't see any couplets developing there, so not really concerned with an embedded tornado, at least through the downtown Houston area. However, to the north, this was what we were watching with that brand new tornado warning near Porter Heights, which it looks like it may be even consolidating to the north of where where the polygon was issued. This area right here, north of Porter Heights, which is outside of the polygon.
Yeah, so we may be seeing this warning being extended further to the north to include now where this rotation is possibly showing signs of a couplet right there. And you can see a little bit of a brighter polygon right there, also a little brighter red. So Tim, we may be seeing a little bit more of a tighter couplet forming with that portion of the line is making to the east at about 35 miles per hour.
Right, and some of the radar indicated wind speeds, at least, again, we're aloft here, several hundred feet up, 30, 40 miles an hour. So that could mix down to the ground easily because we're also embedded in some very heavy rainfall. But overall, this is a very poorly put together couplet.
Yeah, so we're not too concerned with really a massive potential tornadic activity going on right here. But nonetheless, that little small amount of rotation, you may get a quick spin up. And that's where we are primarily seeing these tornado warnings up along the line is because of a quick spin up just to get the information out there that there may be the possibility of a tornado in your vicinity. Unlike that tornado warning that was east of Chambers County, that one, that rogue cell, definitely a much more pronounced chance for seeing a tornado that was on the ground and actually, Tim, lasting for a while. And I believe as we take a look out there across in towards 290, we have Steph Simmons with us. Steph, what do you say?
Yeah, guys, I've been tracking where the storm's going and listening to you guys very closely and monitoring the road conditions. So 290 is our main concern right now. I do need to move so I can take a closer look at what we're dealing with on our quad cameras too. Just give me a second here, guys. Okay, so Grand Parkway, Cypress, Rose Hill, looks like we do have a brand new accident in the middle of all of that rain. I was also looking very closely at any high water spots. You were talking about flooding and that it's going to be going so fast you're not worried about that because of the speed of this storm. So I only found one high water spot, and it's in a typical location by Atascocita by Lake Houston. Whenever we have any rain, that's going to be the first place where we see that. So local folks around that area, the southern portion of Lake Houston, the local surface streets there, you're not going to be able to use those right now, but those should dry out later in the day. Not worried about that. Also monitoring any accidents out there. And I tell you what, we are in pretty decent shape besides the 99 crash that I just mentioned. That's going to be the eastbound side at Cypress Hill. Could be related to the rain. Sometimes when we have weather like this, we see an increase in solo car crashes because people just think that they can go the speed limit, and you really can't. You should not be driving in conditions like this. So if you do find yourself out there on the roads when we do have watches and warnings in effect, you need to pull over, you need to duck down below your windows, keep your seatbelt on, and just ride it out. Yeah,
Steph, just to bring you up to date here, we do have a brand new tornado warning. Sorry to cut you off, but just off to the north here near Roman Forest area. Addison, we just have a new one until 9:15 for this couplet here that you can see kind of developing outside of that other cell right up in here, which doesn't look, amazing, but it's certainly something right here.
Yeah, and this was a cell that we were just watching for the possibility of seeing this extended a little bit to the north. The National Weather Service has gone ahead and put that warning up in place till 9:15, with that out towards the Porter Heights area and just east, southeast, up in towards Dogwood Acres, just south of Roman Forest. That's where we could potentially see up towards the Eastgate area. You needing to get into your safe spot. Do not be on the roadways, and if you are on the roadways, do not stop underneath an overpass. That is one of the worst things you can do. The winds will quickly funnel through that area, and they'll actually get stronger, and you may be put more in harm's way, even if you're on the side of the road. And if other drivers are driving past you, they may not see you quick enough, and they may run into you, and then that'd be a big accident over there.
Right, and all the action seems to be this morning, at least so far, north of the city. So we've got dual tornado warnings now, severe thunderstorm warning. Things are still rocking south of the city, out through Sugar Land, through Katy. This line moved earlier with some gusty winds. El Campo, all along 69, south of Houston, is seeing some gusty winds and very, very heavy rain. Just nothing of severe criteria yet. But to the north, our concern, of course, is with the tornado warnings. 2 of them currently in effect north of the city, just to the east of Spring now and moving east of the Woodlands. So that's some good news there. But Atascocita, Dogwood Acres, Barrett, Aldine, Hawthorne Place, all under the gun right now.
And Tim, I'm curious if we can switch to the velocity product right here and maybe just show some of those winds coming through with the severe thunderstorm warning and just down along the line, see what those gusts could be, because we were forecasting potential of seeing 40 plus miles per hour easily with this line coming through. And so far we have been seeing winds getting close to that, if not higher. And Tim, right there, those green highlighted colors all down, 69 for instance. Yeah, we can definitely see 40 plus mile per hour wind gusts south of Richmond. Close to 60 mile per hour wind gusts are being reported, at least radar estimates. estimates, I should say.
Right, yeah, up to 50, 60 miles per hour, so certainly capable of causing some damage. Not sure, now there's a tornado watch here. Yeah, same one, that's still up. So let me take that down there so we can see what's going on. But yeah, the tornado watch is up until 4 o'clock for the area out ahead of the front. But we do think that this will be gone by that point easily. So that's some good news there.
Oh, absolutely. So this is just a precaution that they had it going all that long till 4 o'clock because of how quickly the line is moving. And this watch extends well into Louisiana, where we do have the potential of severe weather all the way through the late night hours, pushing in towards the Mississippi-Alabama border. So it's a very energetic storm system coming through. It made its way through the nation's heartland yesterday, now coming through the Lone Star State today, and unfortunately, Tim, pushing through the Houston metro area. But definitely good news is that it's moving quickly. We'll be seeing the system out of here soon, and that way later on this afternoon, we'll be drying up. Well, then those strong gusty winds will be coming on in the wake of that system passing by.
Right, and we've got the setup there for the severe weather. Now, if this was, say, coming through 6 hours later in the day, we'd have a much more immediate scenario here, much more threatening scenario. Nonetheless, still a tornado watch, still tornado warnings here, but you can see the winds out ahead of the front have been getting stronger out of the south to southeast. Now, behind the front, winds are shifting quickly out of the northwest. So that already introduces rotation in the atmosphere. Can we get it to consolidate down into smaller cells, which would be severe thunderstorms, rotating thunderstorms, and then a funnel cloud potentially making it down to the ground. Now, we did have one of those earlier just outside. This is still that tornado warning here out to the east of Winnie. That was a waterspout earlier, Addison, that you were talking about, and you had confirmed footage of it. And it's now over land as a tornado. There's also several tornado warnings here north of the city. Nothing confirmed on the ground. These are all just radar indicated. But the environmental conditions are there for the potential for some more before this moves out.
Yeah, definitely so, Tim. So everyone needs to be staying on alert throughout this entire scenario, this entire timeline, because of how quickly this line is moving through. We already have seen confirmed evidence of that water spout then moving on land, becoming a tornado. Numerous tornado warnings are up in effect across this area as well. The atmosphere is just ripe for seeing the potential for severe weather, but thankfully not as extreme as if this was, say, 4 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
Even though we're in towards the tail end of October, this is the secondary severe weather season, late October and through early November as we're switching the season. So the atmosphere is very chaotic when you're switching out a very warm tropical air mass, replacing it with a cooler, drier air mass. And Tim, we have enhanced tropical moisture coming on in, because this is actually leftover from Hurricane Rick that moved across in Mexico several days ago, and all that moisture transported up this way recently.
Yeah, and the residual energy too. So there's already still spin from a tropical system in there as well. Addison, I want to jump over now to the velocities again to check on these two these two tornado warnings. Excuse me. The one here that's just north of Houston, the first of the two that are out, that velocity signature now is looking much more interesting because we're seeing it consolidate a little bit more near Dyersdale, and this could be the possibility of that circulation getting a little bit more structured and potentially dropping its way down to the ground there. So you can see that signature, that red and green close to one another. It's still a little bit elongated, but I think it may be enough that there could be something, and maybe at least a funnel cloud visible.
And Tim, as we're taking a look from one of our meteorologist Kim Castro, some footage right here coming on in from outside her neighborhood in the Katy area. You can see the heavy rain coming down, and you can quickly get some street ponding with this intense rainfall rates of 1 to 3 inches per hour. But thankfully, because this line of cells is quickly moving out of the area, we're not expecting widespread flooding concerns. And we haven't had rain in several days, so all the rivers, the bayous, they can all handle it. But just the roadways where you don't have any chance for absorption, that's where you may get some street ponding coming on in.
Yeah, absolutely. And jumping back over to radar now with the velocities. If you're just tuning in now and kind of wondering what's going on, you're getting alerts on your phone. Well, we've got dual tornado warnings north of the city. We've talked about this cold front coming on through for the past couple of days, and as it's moving into that warm, humid air that we've been stuck with for days, that's fuel for this front to use. What it's doing, it's plowing into it and forcing it all to rise, and with wind shifting direction, wind shear aloft, it's spinning. And some of that is reaching it down to the ground in the form of some tornado warnings, possibly reaching to the ground. We had one earlier well off to the south and east, but these are dual to the north of the city right now, Addison.
And Tim, even though we are just dealing with 2 tornado winds right now, we may get more being issued as that line is pushing to the east-southeasterly direction. And we are looking for this type of a signature right here when we're seeing a tornado warning. That is a tightening couplet, and that's where we have winds going towards the radar dish in green, getting brighter, away from the radar dish in red, getting brighter. And we look for where they're really close proximity to each other, like 2 little pixels, and that's where you may be seeing that potential protrusion of a funnel cloud and then eventually coming down towards our tornado. But right now, Tim, it looks like a rotating portion of the storm cell cell coming through. Nothing confirmed just yet.
Right, and here's switching it up to the storm relative, just kind of a different perspective on the storm, really. And we do see that couplet tightening up a little bit more here, just to the north of Dyersdale, to the east of Kingwood. So this area right in here, let me just draw it on in case you're wondering here. Right over here is this area we're concerned with, just north of Dyersdale. So that is why there's a tornado warning until 9:30, so another 26 minutes. It's been a little bit now since we've tracked it, Addison. Let's put a storm track on it and see where it is heading. It is moving east quickly at 35 miles an hour, so it's going to cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time. But moving towards Crosby and Barrett here, there's some of the names. Dyersdale at 9:05.
And you can see it going forward, pushing in past the Wood Creek middle area, going towards Shelton around 9:18, Barrett around 9:24. Again, like Tim was saying, this is a very fast-moving portion of the line of thunderstorms, 30 to 40 miles per hour, so it can quickly make its way towards that vicinity. And I would not try and go out and maybe see, oh, can I see a tornado? No, it's not advised at all. Definitely need to get to your safe spot and get so quickly because of how quickly this line of thunderstorms is moving and possibly coming towards your vicinity.
Right, and let's jump to the north one now. This is another separate tornado warning considered with what's going on here near New Caney. This couplet here doesn't look as pronounced as the one just to the south of it, but it is something, and there's certainly some rotation in this rotating thunderstorm here out near the New Caney area, right along to the east of 69, south of Wood Branch.
Yeah, very broad rotation right there, Tim. If we are trying to finally see it tightening up, which hopefully it does not, we're not looking forward to that happening, but we're keeping our eyes on where we are seeing that going underway. And as we take a look and see where this eventual portion of the line of thunderstorms is moving on in, as it makes its way eastward, it's going in towards the Kenneth area around 9:40 or so. And Tim, we're keeping our eyes on that line itself in general and seeing where we have any Boeing segments coming on out. That's where we could possibly see some broader rotations going on in, and then we'll look for that down towards the surface as well.
Right, yeah, let's get a wide out shot here of what's going on, because even though a lot of the action, the warnings have been north of the city, it is still rocking to the south, and you are under a tornado watch as well in Brazoria and Matagorda over towards League City, Galveston area, Baytown, Houston itself. I'm not seeing any warnings. At least the north side was under a tornado warning earlier, but nothing has come from it. South through Sugar Land, Damon, Markham, Palacios, El Campo, 59 Corridor, a lot of it's starting to wind down for you there, but as it moves out closer to the coast, encountering that warm, humid air, yeah, it's possible that we see some spin-ups there, but overall the line here, we'll put it in a loop over the last hour. It's covering a lot of ground. About an hour ago, it was out through Katy, and now it's moving towards League City area. So 2 hours from now, most of this will be gone.
That's some good news right Tim, I should say, because this line is going to be coming in and out of town very quickly. Our afternoons could still be salvaged going in towards Game 2 of the World Series. Of course, a lot of eyes will be on that, going to Street Fest at 4 o'clock. Definitely have a lot of people out and about, and we do not want this active weather in place. We want it out of town. Thankfully, it will be, but Tim, unfortunately, in the wake of this line, strong winds will be coming on in, but also cooler, drier air.
Right, and that's another thing. We were talking about this wind threat with the front itself, with the storms, but behind it, with a very favorable positioning of the upper level jet stream and the winds aloft, we're going to see winds really hike up, 40, 50 mile an hour gusts possible as we head into tomorrow afternoon. So if you haven't already hunkered down the Halloween decorations for this line coming through, you're going to have to do so for the next 24 to 36 hours, really. It's going to get quite gusty.
Absolutely, Tim. In fact, portions of West Texas, where the line had already moved through over the past 24 hours or so, they already have wind advisories up near the Panhandle, Western Texas. Those will be added further east over time, just coming on in the wake of this cold front coming on through, and it's just being enhanced, its forward progression, by a very vigorous jet stream that's digging down in towards this portion of the country and tilting towards the east, allowing more of an amplified potential of seeing possibly severe weather.
Yeah, absolutely. And Addison, if folks are just joining in now, maybe they're getting alerts on their phone from the National Weather Service saying tornado warning in effect for your area. Well, here's what you want to do. Turn on the TV to KHOU. If you're watching right now, turn it all the way up. Go into your safe space, and we're going to track it for you as it moves through your area. We've got 2 tornado warnings out there right now north of the city that do have signatures of potentially putting down a tornado. Nothing shows it on the ground. It's unconfirmed, but the potential is there north of the city. Dual tornado warnings. If you're in Sheldon, Atascocita, Roman Forest, just to the east of Spring area, and you're getting alerts on your phone, go to that safe place. If you're about to head out the door to work, it's that time of morning too, hold off for another 30, 45 minutes until things clear up. It's a fast moving line. You won't be all that late, and I'm sure your managers will understand.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think a lot of people understand. Take your time with this. Rather be safe than sorry. There's no need to rush trying to get anywhere when you're dealing with this type of weather scenario going on, where we have 2 tornado warnings in place, a severe thunderstorm warning in place as well, and a tornado watch all the way up until 4 o'clock. And you can see right there coming on in from one of our cameras, one of our TrainStar cameras up near the Brigham Woods area, I should say. We're cycling through several cameras, just showing you how it looks out there, getting some ground truth to see how it looks in your vicinity. A lot of roads are just wet, but we're keeping our eyes, Tim, on where we could possibly see those strong thunderstorms generate the possibility of showing some signs of rotation.
Yeah, absolutely. And Addison, we were looking at this cell here just to the north of the city, Dyersdale area for the velocity signatures. This is what we're looking at now. It's definitely a little more ragged, which is great news. So Magnolia Gardens, Sheldon area. And overall, I want to show you the polygon here is rather large. Now, a tornado obviously does not cover that entire area. That's why we show you the velocity signatures and pinpoint where that actually is within the polygon, so you can get a really hyper local sense of if it's heading to your neighborhood. Overall, though, if you are in that polygon, it's a good idea to head to your safe place and stay indoors, away from windows, a lower level of your house if you have one, and ride this out. It's moving quick, 35 miles an hour, so it'll be in and out very quickly.
Thankfully so, Tim, and hopefully it does not keep people caught off guard as they're trying to go outside, maybe trying to get those loose objects tied down. At this point, just forget about it, because you don't want to get caught off guard with the storm system moving quickly through your vicinity. You'll be able to retrieve them hopefully later on, but it's more important your safety. Get into your safe spot. Grab a bicycle helmet if you happen to have one, or something to protect your head. Getting towards the interior sections of your home, whether it's a bathroom or a closet. Just no windows around you, because those can easily break. Debris flying through your area, and that may not be even coming in from a tornado, just because we have such strong straight line winds coming in, Tim, with this line of thunderstorms. Yeah,
and I'm looking at this on the velocity signature within that tornado warning here near Beaumont Place. And that Boeing line that you see there kind of with the green shade. Let me move all this stuff off so you can see. But yeah, you see that Boeing there near Beaumont Place. That's likely some very gusty winds, possibly making it down to the surface right along and north of 90 there by Sheldon. So Sheldon looks quiet right now, but you're about to get some gusty winds moving through your neck of the woods in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 to 15 minutes or so, Tim, definitely so, especially as we're looking at any more Boeing segments like this coming through. That's where we're seeing the possibility of some stronger winds up aloft, punching their way down to the surface, pushing up ahead of the line slightly, and just kind of like we said, like a bow and arrow, bowing out a little bit ahead of the main line. But we can certainly see we got 2 tornado warnings up in place. The last one, the latest, up till 9:30. So for the next about 19 minutes or so, severe thunderstorm warning as well, just across the northern sections of the loop and the Beltway. And then we do have, I believe, over towards that one, Tim, that was about near the Winnie area. That was a tornado warning we had in place from a very pronounced looking radar signature. Probably a confirmed tornado on the ground, debris being picked up. Yeah, we can certainly see we have another one up there till 9:45.
Ongoing. In fact, let's see if there is still a debris signature from this cell. It's been impressive in holding itself together for a while now, well out ahead of the actual line, the cold front itself. So here's a look. I don't really see much there. Let's look on the spectral width. Not too much, so at least that's good. Maybe if it's anything, it's much weaker than it was, but certainly this cell has been robust, and it's been firing off more cells around it, so it's been expanding in coverage out by Sour Lake, Beaumont area, and Nederland as well.
And Tim, as we're seeing these cells kind of like cycle through their strength and weakening process, if they weaken out, make it a little bit of a small outflow boundary that may come out, they may help to kick up another cell or two. And then it's all up ahead of this main line that we are concerned with racing through your area. But it's those individual cells like up near Hardin, Liberty, Mont Bellevue. Definitely we got to keep our eyes on those, because those ones could show signs possibly of some rotation.
Right. An update from the National Weather Service, Addison, for the tornado warning here encompassing Dogwood Acres well north of the city. That's going to be allowed to expire in 3 minutes at 9:15. The radar has indicated that it has weakened below severe criteria, so that's good news there. We'll be down 1, and it looks like they have just reissued this one, or actually shaved it back a little bit for the one out by Sheldon as this line races. In fact, look at this little notch here kind of developing. Let's see how that looks on velocities.
Just southeast of Tascasita, just north of the Sheldon area. Yeah, that little notch right there is indicating we're maybe having a little bit more rotation with this portion of the line of thunderstorms coming in. A little bit more winds going away from the radar dish this direction, going towards radar dish in this direction, Tim, and that's where we can see that broad rotation coming through.
Yeah, and you can kind of see that happening here, rotating around there just north of Sheldon. So that's going to be something to watch here, and we'll see if they give an update for it. It's still got another 17 minutes on it before it it would be allowed to expire if indeed it does. But that's one to watch there. Again, the one to the north near Dogwood Acres, that will expire. That is no longer an imminent threat, that cell. The warning will cease in 3 minutes and 2 minutes at 9:15 as the overall signature. You can't even see anything on there with that cell anymore, so that's some good news.
Yeah, it definitely does not look pronounced at all. It's losing its ingredients to show signs of rotation, not really looking more pronounced. Hence, National Weather Service is going to allow that warning to expire. And right now, we don't see any more new warnings popping up along this line. But Tim, as we go down to the south and west, you can see that very pronounced line of thunderstorms making its way down towards the Angleton area, Alvin area, League City. If you're along the Gulf Freeway along I-45, you can probably see this as you're driving northward, and it looks very ominous, but you definitely want to make sure, don't stay on it for long. Find a safe spot, get off the roadways, and get out of harm's way.
Yeah, and there it is. You can see the line here, and then you can see radar starting to pick up now. Dust and leaves getting picked up by the gust front out ahead of it. So this is what we're seeing developing right there, moving on through Angleton. So you'll get a burst of wind before the actual rain begins here, and that'll kick things up. So that's interesting to see that developing right there.
And Tim, if we can move the radar in towards the southwestern portion of the loop area, where we can see this camera coming on in from Herman Park, and we can see the intense rainfall coming down, and you can see how the line has pushed in through that area and moved away. And now as we do the latest scan, we have a few lightning strikes being reported, so we do have some thunderstorms right there producing some quick rainfall rates, Tim, probably about 1 to 3 inches per hour.
Yeah, absolutely. It's flooding downpours, but it is moving quickly. It'll be raining this hard for 15, 20, 30 minutes and then out of here. Still, of course, with poor drainage areas, that could lead to some very short-term flooding problems. And with a lot of folks out there on the road right now, that's something to keep an eye on, too, for the next hour.
And also, Tim, just wanted to add as well, with the possibility of some minor urban flooding, we also have this straight line winds coming through. It can easily knock off some of those loose leaves. I mean, we definitely do have a lot of fall foliage going on across the country. Also here, included in southeast Texas, those leaves can get knocked off. They get washed down towards the storm drains. They can pile up and clog up the drain. And now your area, whether your street or your roadway, can easily start to see the water starting to build on up. So if you find those areas coming through in your vicinity, don't try and drive through it no matter what type of vehicle you have. Definitely wait and go find a different route to get around, because you don't know what lies below the surface, even if it may be just a thin amount of water sitting on your roadways.
Yeah, and Addison, jumping back over to this tornado warning cell, that little couplet that we saw there, that notch, just moved over Lake Houston. And let's see if we've got what this here. Here we go. So, yeah, I mean, the velocity signature, what it looked like on radar was up here. I don't see much there, but this looks a little bit more concerning here. Well, there's the new scan, and actually shows an improvement near Crosby. We've still got some rotation there, but it's a little bit elongated, so that's good. That's
some good news right there. It's kind of broadening itself out. It's not tightening itself together. We don't want to see that happening, because that shows the system is strengthening, showing more signs of rotation. Therefore, the potential grows higher of producing a tornado. But right now, we just have that one tornado warning within portions of east-northeast Harris County, making its way eastward in towards Liberty County as well. Probably will be seeing this warning, Tim, probably getting taken down around 9:30, so the next 14 minutes or so. And thankfully, that's the only one we have in our vicinity. But of course, we're keeping our eyes on potential for more to pop on up.
Right here, and just a couple of minutes ago, Weather Service gave an update on that tornado warning, and it says it is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. It was located over Lake Houston Dam or near Barrett, moving to the east quickly at 30 miles an hour. So it is radar indicated rotation, nothing confirmed on the ground there. And just another update, there's a severe thunderstorm warning now issued for areas south of the city, north of League City, LaPorte, Pasadena area there for that cell, which earlier also had a tornado warning on it too, but we do have a tornado warning here just to the north.
Yeah, so Tim, we're not surprised to be seeing these warnings kind of pop up, getting taken down as we're watching this, the strength and intensity of this line vary as it continues to move quickly through the metro area. More times than not, we'll see a severe thunderstorm warning getting put in place just because we don't have all the ripe ingredients there to produce the possibility of more tornadic activity. But we are underneath a tornado watch, so that potential is certainly out there, especially with these isolated rogue cells up ahead of the line. As we're getting that Gulf moisture to come up from the Gulf of Mexico, they're already starting to show some signs of rotation because of a very vigorous atmosphere aloft.
Right. Now let's set the stage for everybody here. Maybe you just arrived at work and you saw the ominous looking sky and you turned on KHOU and said, what's the latest here? What's going on here? Maybe you're watching us on the app or on social media. Well, we've got that cold front arriving right on schedule, right in the middle of our morning commute, and we'll be out of here by, say, lunchtime, but it is interacting with that warm, humid air. We've got a tornado watch up for most of the area until later this afternoon. Probably a little bit too long of a duration. This will be, the threat will end in the next 2 hours, but that watch is up until 4 o'clock. We've had numerous tornado warnings, most of which have been north of the city, and severe thunderstorm warnings now starting to creep south of the city as that line interacts with that a little bit more humid, a little more unstable air coming in off the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, and Tim, as we can certainly see from the cameras out around and our own weather tracker, we can certainly see how it is on the roadways. And I believe we still have a reporter, Brittany Ford, with us. Brittany, are you there?
Addison, yeah, I got you guys. We're on 99 right now going east and still continuing to see those heavy rain bands. We're going towards Rayford right now, and it's been kind of in and out. Seen a lot of drivers, I want to say, with their hazards lights on. A lot of people taking it easy. We've seen those flashes of lightning, so it's definitely picked up and it's very fast moving. As you guys have mentioned, it's been in and out, really pocketed areas since we've been moving kind of all over the city, tracking the latest for you. As you can see in front of me too, just not too many people on the roadways, taking it easy, taking it slow, but as of right now, not anything too significant to where I want to say people are in any immediate danger. We haven't seen too much flooding on the roadways. We know that's an usual thing that we see on our roadways and our highways when we get a lot of water coming in and the rainfall, significant rainfall and bands that come in and out of the area. So far right now so good, but we are going to one of the areas that has been put on our radar that we've seen some significant damage in the Rayford area. So as we head that way, we'll give you an update for you, but for now I'm going to send it back to you in the studio.
Oh, okay, thank you, Brittany, very much. We're just getting some reports coming on in from Twitter that we are receiving reports of a possible tornado touching down around the 100 block of Airway near Arlene and West Gulf Bank. No reported injuries. Thankfully, everyone is making sure they're staying safe and staying weather alert, but we do have reports as of 9 minutes ago. And there is going to be a Harris County unit going out on the scene where there's reported damage to a home, as well as the fire department and EMS is en route. So we can certainly see as we zoom on in across that area and looking for where that possible tornado did touch down, Tim. And that's what we're going to get with this line of thunderstorms coming through. It's going to be quick. You're going to get a brief touchdown coming by. It creates some chaos, creates some damage, and then it goes back up into the storm cell. You know,
let's go back here and look at the velocity signature for that area and see if we can pinpoint when it actually dropped. You're saying that's just north of the city?
Yeah, just pushing in towards the Arlene area.
Let's go back.
Right there.
Yeah, right in here. You can see that that was where we were looking at that couplet developing right along 45 there, and that could certainly have put down something. So interesting.
And so we're going to be eventually hearing from the National Weather Service. Once this scenario is done, they'll go ahead and have their survey teams go out, survey the damage, see what strength and intensity of the tornado that we did have come down, how long it was around, what neighborhoods it moved through on it. Eventually an official report. But so far we do have, at least from ground truth, from people in the vicinity, that we did have a tornado touchdown just north of the Beltway area.
Right, and so that same tornado warning is up for another 9 minutes until 9:30. And based on this most recent scan of the velocities here, of the wind speeds, we do still have something holding together out by the Crosby and Barrett area, but it is elongated. Within that, there could certainly be some sort of meso spin going on. So some of these areas here, which are a little bit, they're very small, but certainly of note. You can see the greens and the reds right there. In fact, if I put a number on it, and let's see if we get what kind of reading we get from. Okay, 0. That not helpful, but you know what I'm saying. Like there could be some couplets within these areas here that could drop down.
Oh, easily so. Just a little bit of some rotation embedded within the more broader rotation, and that is where you could potentially get. And you wouldn't be able to see it because of all the moisture in the air. A little bit of a brief touchdown from a tornado coming down, could just maybe for a couple of seconds to a minute or so, but that's enough to cause damage. And that may be in your vicinity right there, Tim, as we're watching this tornado warning wrap up in about hopefully the next 8 minutes or so. Watching this cell pushing on in right along Highway 90, moving to the east, relatively about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So it's making its way past Crosby, past Barrett, be heading up towards possibly the Sheiks area as well, but hopefully in a weakened scenario as it continues to move away from that more primed area where there's a potential for another tornado to form.
Right, and just south now, Pasadena area, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning. This is up for an extra 15 minutes from that tornado warning until 9:45. This is going to be our concern here right along the line itself, moving just through Pasadena now. This line right here through Olcott, moving towards LaPorte, Shore Acres, that is going to be the gust front, the straight line winds coming on through there. That's going to be the problem, causing some damage.
Yeah, because this isn't the actual cold front itself. The cold front is actually still further away across central portion of Texas. And we have Steph Simmons keeping our eyes on the roadways. Steph, what do you see so far? Yeah,
you know, guys, we've actually gotten really lucky, thankfully, as far as accidents in the locations where it's coming down the worst. So I'm continuing to track those areas, and just as far as like pockets of areas you need to watch for flooding, just that one spot just south of Lake Houston, all those surface streets by the Tascasita area, that's where I'm mainly concerned. But people who live there, they already know the routine there. That area always gets flooded in town. A lot of our major crashes have already cleared. So if you can, I cannot stress this enough, if you can stay off the roads until these watches and warnings expire, that is the safest thing that you can do right now.
Absolutely so, Stephanie. And as we take a look right here from some more information, we can have a tweet coming in from Sheriff Ed Gonzalez talking about what he did see out that way of the possibility of that tornado touching down, receiving reports right there from the 100 block of Airway near Arlene and West Gulf Bank. And no reports of injuries coming through just yet, but they do have a unit on the scene. There was also the fire department as well as EMS en route to make sure if anybody did get impacted there, making sure they're getting taken care of promptly.
All right, and Addison, it looks like from what we've seen with past occurrences here earlier this morning, this tornado warning that's set to expire in the next 5 minutes has been replaced with a severe thunderstorm warning that is quite large. You can see it encompassing this whole area here for the threat of straight line winds of 60 miles per hour. So this will likely be allowed to expire here in 5 minutes. So the threat for at least winds from a tornado are going down, but overall the wind threat is still there. 60-mile-an-hour winds could certainly take down trees, and a lot of this is all within very, very heavy rainfall too.
Yeah, so people wouldn't be able to see this very pronounced line of thunderstorms coming through because of all the tropical moisture up ahead of it, and that's where these individual cells up ahead of the main line are definitely ones of concern because those could show maybe some signs of rotation, like we did see that one that impacted out towards the Bayou Vista area earlier on this morning during the 7 o'clock hour. And Tim, we definitely did see that cell get stronger as it moved inland from a waterspout toward a tornado. And as the last time we checked out, it was still very pronounced just east of Chambers County. But of course, that's out towards the east. We're keeping our eyes on that one, but definitely more so these ones closer to home, pushing east of the downtown area. And we can see right there as I step out of the way what towns will be impacted, Tim, and at what time frame. Yeah,
it is moving in around 30 miles an hour, the whole line. I just put a whole general line here because each cell is pretty much moving at the same speed here, but we're looking at LaPorte at around 9:34, so you got about a little less than 10-minute lead time there. About the top of the hour near Moss Bluff and Monroe City at 10:19, and really at that point, at 10 o'clock, within an hour from now, most of this will be gone and off towards the east-southeast, pushing just off the coastline. Probably still impacting places like Galveston, but Houston will be out of the woods by then.
Thankfully so, Tim, and it's right up ahead of the line and just to the east of the line. That's the biggest concern, where we have more of the ingredients right there conducive for potential severe thunderstorm development and possibly tornadic development. But behind the line, it's just heavy rain and breezy to gusty winds, but those winds will be increasing as we see a wind environment starting to set up shop with the potential of seeing some wind advisories coming out of the area. Now, let's take a look right here from some footage outside in the Galleria area. You can see the wet pavement on the roadways and just the poor visibility around. Look at the trees swaying and the breezy, the gusty winds coming through. So this is all after the line has passed. We have the worst of it pushing to the east-southeast towards LaPorte, but certainly moderate to heavy rain is still coming down behind the line, and we do have that potential for some poor visibility at spots and certainly some slick spots on the roadways with that ponding effect of the water going down to the surface and unfortunately not being able to drain properly and quickly, Tim.
Yeah, this line itself is moving very quickly, covering a lot of ground, probably moving a little bit faster than anticipated, but hey, it's in here earlier, out of here quicker as well. I'm going to take the watches and warnings off here so we can get a better look at the entire line. Plenty of rainfall associated with this. The big yellow box that you see surrounding that line is actually a tornado watch. until 4 o'clock this afternoon. It's up for a longer duration than what's needed. That'll likely be canceled much sooner than that because it's covering so much ground so quickly. It's already cleared our far western zones now. Earlier this morning, just 2 hours ago, it was out by Bryan. Now it's moving through downtown Houston, has spawned several tornado warnings. The potential that there was a tornado that actually was confirmed on the ground. There was another one out by the Beaumont area that started as a water spout, moved over land, and is still holding together over an hour later. So that's the dynamics in play here out ahead of the actual front. These are just cells acting on that southeasterly flow. The front itself is still about 40 miles off towards the west of those cells. This line, we've got several severe thunderstorm warnings now just east of the city because of strong straight line winds. 60 miles per hour or greater are certainly expected with this. There is lightning and thunder, and with it being in the tail end now of that morning commute, the heavy rainfall could cause some flooding issues. Very short term, because it is so quick moving, it'll be ending fast, and the drainage basins will be able to catch up with it in rather short term. The watch box here, again, until 4, that tornado watch. Conditions already improving out by Katy. Still some lingering rain. But even as this clears out, we've talked about this, the cool air coming in behind it, everybody's been waiting for. Sure, it's great. But it's going to be very windy, too. Wind gusts tomorrow, 40, 45, maybe some outside gusts of 50 miles an hour. And that's with crystal clear blue skies, so not going to be caused by any severe weather. So our wind threat does stay with us even after that front does exit later on this afternoon. So let's bring you up to date here on those warnings that are up. We're waiting on that tornado warning within a minute or so. It should be allowed to expire because I'll show you why. I mean, the wind signatures on this in terms of the velocities, which is what we use to pick out where the spin is in the atmosphere, where we can see the reds and greens close together. That couplet is where 9 out of 10 times you'll find, or really 9.9 out of 10 times, you'll find the spin from the tornado evidenced on radar. And I'm not seeing that anymore in this cell. So you can see the watch box, or the warning box, is right here. And I'm not seeing really any big shifts in velocities. Out by Sheiks, yeah, there is some shifting winds, but it is very stretched out and over a larger area. You need that to be more consolidated and more condensed for that to be spawning anything. So that's some good news there. That is an improvement. Down to the south here, we're looking at severe thunderstorm warnings, 3 of them stacked right on top of one another along the actual line itself. And there we go. The tornado warning has been allowed to expire at 9:30. So that's good news. Now we're just left with 3 separate severe thunderstorm warnings. These are these ones right here through Shore Acres, Baytown, and out towards the I-10 corridor there until 10 o'clock, and another one just to the south until 9:45. Main threats here is going to be still the winds. They're going to be embedded in this line here, which has the heavy rain, but right at the edge of those lines, this line right here, you got the gusty winds. 60 miles per hour is certainly a potential there, Addison. These start to roll on through. And I wouldn't be surprised if some more down to the south here, which for now has been rather quiet, does start to fire up some warnings too.
Yeah, absolutely so, Tim. The environment is just ripe for seeing potential of more severe weather to come through. We got all that tropical moisture in place. We certainly have some rotation going on from what was left of Hurricane Rick traveling over Mexico and towards southeast Texas, as well as the amplified jet stream up aloft digging down towards this part of the country. And even though we don't have the daytime heat, that's some good news in our favor right there, because otherwise we'd be seeing a much more widespread, much more violent potential of severe weather coming through across the area. And as we take a look across in one of our viewers coming on in, Pastor Jaime on Twitter, showing us how it looks on the roadways. You can see all that water getting kicked up as people are driving on the roadways, hopefully slowing down, and that's definitely creating some poor visibility. So you have to make sure you just take it easy on the roadways. This is coming in from Highway 59. So if you don't happen to have the need to go out and about, try and stay home, stay dry. You can go to work a little bit later, maybe just work a little bit later on, but you definitely want to make sure you're not caught in harm's way, Tim, as we're dealing with this thunderstorm line pushing in and out of the city very quickly.
Yeah, 2 severe thunderstorm warnings do remain up right now until 9:45, so about another 15 minutes for the one just north of League City. North of there, including Baytown, until 10 a.m. Your threat here is going to be for some gusty winds as that line exits downtown Houston and pushes east at around 30 miles an hour.
And Tim, are we seeing any more signs of rotation with any of those storm cells up ahead of the main line, just east and towards, like, say, the Chambers County area?
I haven't seen much indicating that there would be a warning issued, but yeah, I mean,
just checking.
Certainly still some winds out there, some gusty winds, and they're expecting up to 60-mile-an-hour winds.
Okay,
so, yeah.
Oh, some great news right there. And thankfully, we won't see any more warnings being issued as we have this line of thunderstorms pushing through and in and out of the vicinity. And as Tim was saying earlier on, tornado watch is up in effect till 4 o'clock at the latest. Highly likely we see counties getting taken down ahead of that deadline because of how quickly this line of thunderstorm cells is moving through. And as you can certainly see from the quad box of cameras going on, our TransStar cameras, there are a lot of areas showing wet roadways, and we are hopefully not seeing a lot of accidents out there. Everyone has been heeding the warning we've been talking about all morning long on H-Town Rush. If you don't happen to have the need to go out and about, stay off the roads. They will be wet, and we will be dealing with some strong gusty winds, and there is that potential for the possibility of seeing some tornadic activity.
Yeah, I'm going to try to pull up here, Addison, how much rain we've seen drop in just the last couple of hours as we've gone through here. So I'm going to take off the radar and throw up the accumulations, which I think they're just going to be lagging a little bit behind, but we'll probably see, yeah, there they are popping on up there. So some of these areas, yeah, out by Sugarland, Orchard area, let's see what some of the 2.1 inches. So this is the last 3 hours, some of this data. So Richmond area picked up 2 inches of rainfall as this line rolled on through. Downtown, around an inch. So let's put some actual numbers on there. Here out near Bel Air, picked up 1.2 inches in the last 3 hours. Just north, south of Dyersdale, 1.2 inches. So yeah, this certainly could have overwhelmed some of the storm drainage basins and caused some flooding. A lot of it's probably already recovered by now because it is moving so quickly. So that's the good news in this. If this was a slow-moving event, we'd be looking at some pretty pronounced flooding problems for sure.
Absolutely so, Tim. That's the silver lining right there. We don't have to worry about the widespread flooding concern. And speaking of the roadways, we have Steph Simmons with us. Steph, what are you seeing by you?
Well, Addison, I want to ask you a question first. Southwest Freeway coming out of Fort Bend County into downtown, is that where it's coming down really, really bad?
Yeah, pretty much so. Looking down across that way, pushing in towards the portions of Fort Bend County, going in down across towards the Brazoria County area as well. That's where we did have that moderate to heavy rain coming on through. And
that would make sense with the trend I'm seeing in traffic. So listen to me here, folks. I'm looking at the latest status updates on our TransStar log, and we have an active crash on the southbound side of the Southwest Freeway at West Park Drive, also by Shepherd Drive, same direction, and then Spur 527. So all in that same area. We've got a heavy truck involved in the one by Spur 527. So that is a nucleus of an area where it is less than a mile apart from one another, just inside the West Loop. Other areas of concern are going to be your South Beltway going eastbound by 90. So we've seen action there since about 9:15. A couple of lanes blocked with that active crash. So right in the middle of all the heavy downpours, that's where we're seeing some new crashes.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. And was taking a look across the whole viewing area with the radar coming in as well. We can certainly see where that line of storms, Tim, is making its way through. And we'll be dealing with this for hopefully not too long, as we're seeing this line come through at a very quick pace of 30 to 40 miles per hour. Yeah, the line itself, the Weather Service is saying moving at 35. So here's some of the cities that we're looking at. The farthest out, Bolivar Peninsula at 10:39. So in about an hour from now, it will be clearing most of the area, still impacting Chambers County at that point, but on the tail end of moving out. Some good news right there. So if you're in those vicinities, in those highlighted towns where you're mentioning, we also have it right here on your screen for you, and we will be covering it as we continue to update with that line's progression going forward. Just make sure you can ride out safely. If you don't have the need to go out, stay in your home, stay off the roadways. Behind the line, we have moderate to light rain coming on through, and in fact, it's even starting to clear on up, Tim, just west of Katy, going up in towards, say, Austin County, for instance, Washington County. They're already starting to see the rain wrapping up completely, probably seeing the skies clearing out as well. Right, and you can see how quickly, this is a 2-hour loop. So 2 hours ago, it was out through Bryan and Brenham, and now it's moving through Liberty and headed towards Galveston. So moving a little bit faster than anticipated, but that's good news. We'll get the sunshine in here quicker, shift those winds, and get that humidity gone much faster than we otherwise would have. Yeah, finally get the chance for seeing some more autumn-like air to return across the area, and definitely clear this all out before Game 2 of the World Series goes underway coming up at 7 o'clock tonight. Street Fest goes on, kicking off at 4 o'clock. The roads should be drier by then. The winds, though, will be picking on up, so make sure you hold on towards those Astro hats, otherwise you get blown down the street. Absolutely. And here's a look at velocities again, Addison, within those 2 severe thunderstorm warnings that we've got. No couplets showing up, at least. There's one here over by Shore Acres that may be trying to get itself together a little bit. It's very wide and very much ragged, so not really concerned about it right now, but certainly something to keep an eye on. This is what we're talking about right here. Possibility. We'll see how that works. And as it moves a little bit farther to the east over open water, there's always the possibility that it develops into a water spout, and that's what we saw this morning off of the
coast near Chambers.
Yeah, definitely so. And speaking of which, I wonder if do we still have that water spout video? We'll have to show that again because that showed what that cell earlier on, how it looked when it was pushing through across Bayou Vista around the 7 a.m. hour, and then eventually that system moved eastward and towards Chambers County, Tim, and then eventually it got the chance for getting stronger, and we saw it becoming a kind of strong tornado, kicking up some debris and tossing up aloft.
Yeah, and here it is. It's still got a tornado warning on it. I mean, the velocity signatures on it aren't as bullish as they were earlier, but certainly there's probably, at least at some point on this track, it was on the ground. This is well outside of our viewing area, so there's no tornado warnings in our area right now. This is off towards the east considerably, out by Orange along I-10 and Morrisville area, Echo, and Hartburg. So right over I-10, in fact, it looks like it's moving. Yeah,
pushing to the east-northeasterly direction at about a speed of about 20 miles per hour or so. We can see how it looked earlier on from this video right here from our partners, Saltwater Recon. And you can see that kind of swirl going on right there on the surface of the water. Even though you don't have that clear, classic textbook-looking tornado, or water spout, I should say, on the water, you can certainly see the interaction of the clouds rotation, bringing those winds down towards the surface. And Tim, definitely can see a water spout is forming, moving through the area, even though it's not clear-cut textbook case example.
Yeah, and in most cases, too, we say water spouts are harmless as they stay out over open water. Of course, as long as boats stay away from them, and they're usually rather weak, and it's not until they move on shore that they can cause damage, obviously. And this one did, and it actually looked like it got stronger. The signature on it, as we were watching it earlier, got more and more intense, and it's still holding together. And this is well out ahead of the line itself.
Yeah, so we definitely probably saw some rotation, not just at the base of that cloud, but maybe a little more higher up inside that severe thunderstorm, building as time went on, allowing it to intensify. And as it moved over through Chambers County and moving eastward in towards the Winnie area, it continued to maintain that strength, if not get stronger, and therefore kicking up some debris as we had a tornado on the ground moving through that area.
All right, guys, I want to jump in here because with weather like this, of course, come the power outages. So we're taking a look at the CenterPoint Energy Tracker right now, and an estimated 47,000 customers now without power. As we take a look at this map together, so I want to pinpoint some of the areas of concern here, just north of the North Loop. So as you ride I-45 north, right in the Acres Homes area, you're going to see a nucleus of the yellow, the orange, and the red, showing you just how many people are without power. So that main point is going to be between I-45 and the Hardy Toll Road. And then you move over more towards the northwest area of town, Jersey Village. We have a lot of people without power there, straddling 290 on up towards Cypress. And then as we head towards East Harris County into the north, East Tex Freeway, just a little east of there, you're also going to see a pocket of yellow, and that is going to be just inside of the East Beltway. So again, 47,000 people and counting without power at this time.
Oh, man, we may see that number grow up even more so, Steph, as we watch that line of storms pushing through. Thank you for that information and that update. And, Tim, where are we seeing this line going through next as we start to look forward in time?
Yeah, it's moving to the east at 35, so we'll throw up a storm track here. I'll just do the whole line because it's going to be pushing towards the coast within that amount of time here. So let me quickly draw that on from our two severe thunderstorm warnings that we have down through League City, Angleton, and I'll end it near the border with Matagorda. Moving off towards the east there's some of the cities. Texas City, whew, words are hard sometimes. 9:55 this morning, so about 15 minutes from now. But keep in mind that the two severe thunderstorm warnings, this one expires 9:45, the one that's south towards Baytown, and the one to the north expires in about 20 minutes at 10 o'clock. Now we're seeing the main threats here along the initial push of that line is gusty winds. 60 miles per hour, certainly a possibility. Haven't seen much at all in terms of threats of hail. And this time of morning, we weren't really concerned about that. It was going to be the heavy rain, and wind has always been the #1 threat. And then you throw in the tornado risk as well, which we've already seen verified this morning. But now we've just got two lingering severe thunderstorm warnings there off towards the north, and these are all moving so fast off to the east at 35 and almost about to move out of the warning polygon that were issued for them just 30 minutes ago out by Baytown and Pasadena. So that line itself, the strongest winds at least, are going to be right along the initial boundary here, moving through Baytown. Still heavy rain over Pasadena, still some heavy rain lingering on the east side of Houston, Sheldon area, and off to the north as well. But again, it is moving very, very fast, moving towards the Bolivar Peninsula within the next 30 minutes.
And Tim, as we go ahead and set the stage for everyone that's we chime in, maybe they're trying to see the programming going on. Normally we're breaking in for severe weather coverage, and we had this line of strong and severe thunderstorms come through earlier on today. A tornado watch was put up in place, and it goes all the way in effect till 4 o'clock. We have had several tornado warnings being issued, and so far at least 2 confirmed across the area. One well out east, out towards the Winnie area, another one just across the northern sections of the Beltway. Even though it was brief, it was confirmed by several people in the vicinity, and we have first responders out towards that vicinity as well. But we'll be staying on the air through 10 o'clock at the latest, because that's when the last severe thunderstorm warning will be allowed to expire, Tim.
Yeah, and it looks like things are progressing in our favor here. Things are moving quicker and weakening a little bit faster. Now, as you get closer to the coast here, most times there is a pretty stable maritime layer or marine layer coming on in, the stable air over the water. So that does look to be preventing this line to the south, at least south of the city, from really firing off anywhere nearly as intensive activity as we saw to the north. So that's the good news there. And as it moves through Brazoria, Matagorda, just the heavy rain and the wind threat for you now. No warnings have been up for you at all this morning, just heavy, heavy rain and the gusty winds as well. All the action has been towards the north, Houston north of there with the tornado warnings that have now expired, just lingering 2 severe thunderstorm warnings that will expire in the next 17 minutes.
And Tim, speaking of the roadways, our own traffic weather tracker has been out there going up from the northern portions of the viewing area, pushing them down towards the Hardy roadway intersection with the toll roadway. And we have a reporter out there, Brittany Ford, with us. Brittany, are you with us? And if so, what are you seeing out by you, I should say?
We're on the same IFB.
Yep. I got you. I got you, Addison. Yeah, we're actually headed towards that that possible confirmed tornado that we know is on the West Gulf Bank. So that's where we're headed right now en route. So far, though, I want to say it's pretty consistent what we've seen on the roadways from what Steph has been saying, from what you have been saying. You know, really heavy red rain bands coming in and out of the area. We've seen some street, some roadway ponding in the area, things of that nature. But I will say it's not too severely dangerous out on the roadways. It's manageable, but you got to take your time. Definitely be safe. Don't be in a rush. But so far, I will say so far so good. But we're going to go where the action is happening, and as soon as we get there, we'll give you an update. But for right now, I'm going to send it back to you in the studio.
Okay, thank you very much, Brittany, for that update. Look forward to hearing from you when you get towards that vicinity where that tornado did touch down. And Tim, as we continue to analyze the skies, analyze this storm system right here, we still have those 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in place, but thankfully no more tornado warnings across the vicinity.
Right, and Weather Service has indicated they will just expired right there.
Great.
Yeah, the 1 severe thunderstorm warning in the south. Still have 1 up until 10 o'clock, 15 more minutes.
And as we watch that one, Tim, that one line, that one portion of the line right there, I should say, it's a very wide area that severe thunderstorm warning encompasses, because we've been seeing over the course of the past several hours those little individual Boeing segments coming out where we do have stronger winds up aloft, ejecting themselves forward ahead of the line, and maybe showing some possible broad signs of rotation, but definitely more so strong straight line winds coming through in excess of 50 to 60 miles per hour.
Yeah, and there's radar indicated right there just south of where that warning box is, 50 miles per hour there. Out by LaPorte, 27. So we're not too far from the radar side either. So this gives us a better indication of what may be happening at the surface there, because as the radar goes out, it moves at an elevation. So the farther out you go, the higher up in elevation, it's picking up some of those numbers. So 50 miles an hour, probably 100 feet from the ground, maybe not even.
Yeah, not too far.
Yeah, now it's dropped. So, yep.
And as Tim, as everyone's trying to get in their bearing straight with the storm system coming through, if you happen to have the KHU 11 app, you can go ahead and submit your photos and videos to us by hitting the Near Me section on the app. It's very easy to do, but if you are going to do so, please do so safely. Don't do it where the thunderstorms are coming through your area. We don't want anybody caught in harm's way, but if you're able to do so, feel free to send them up this way. We'd love to put them on the air for you, showing everyone how it looks out in your vicinity. And we do see a few images coming through right now. I'm going to go ahead and grab this image and put it full screen so we can clearly see that storm damage in the Woodlands area. This is coming up right here. We can see some tree damage over that way, and we do have other images that have come through. Thank you very much for submitting these images to us. This one's coming in from the Woodlands area as well, where we did have, Tim, that tornado warning up in place. And for the most part, we have seen some really strong winds come through. This is from the Humboldt area.
Right, and that's been the main threat here. Embedded within this line, we had a few spin-up tornadoes that, of course, caused even more significant damage. But overall, the line is progressing eastwards, and with it taking that strong wind threat. It's really at the initial push of the front, that front line there, the gust front, that's going to bring those strongest winds. Within the line itself, maybe a few embedded stronger gusts, but we've seen gusts over 50, 55, 60 miles an hour so far this morning, and it is racing to the east. Will clear our entire area within the next 60 minutes. So that's the good news there. Here's a 2-hour loop just to give you a perspective on how fast it is moving. 2.5 hours ago it was out by Bryan College Station area. Now it's dropping well fast off to the east-southeast. Has now pretty much cleared downtown Houston. There is still some lingering moderate to heavy rainfall, some breezy conditions there, but the initial front, the gust front here, is moving through, headed towards the Galveston area, and will be bringing with it its strong wind threat there as well. We still have one severe thunderstorm warning, so we're going to stay on with you until 10 o'clock, which is when this is going to be expiring there. And as we look at velocities here, which we've been showing you all morning long, kind of is radar indicated wind speeds and wind direction, and how we use that is when we can pick up where the winds are moving direction or wind shear within a small area. That gives us an indication that there could be rotation or a tornado, and that's how we pinpointed the ones earlier. But now we've got this severe thunderstorm cell here that we don't see any of those couplets or any of those very condensed areas of greens and reds. And what greens and reds are, it's just different directions. One's moving towards the radar site, one away. So when you get them close together, you've got rotation going on there, and we're not seeing that. In fact, if I put on the most recent image here within that severe thunderstorm warning, there isn't really that right now. Maybe a few couplets here. Now we're getting up over the open waters here, so that could potentially bring the threat for maybe a water spout if conditions are right there. It's just a little bit easier for a rotation to drop itself down to the surface of the water rather than the land, because there's less friction, but overall not really looking all that threatening right now.
That's some good news right there, Tim. We're seeing less of those conditions conducive for the possibility of more rotation within these storm cells, even up along the line and ahead of the line as well. So as we're watching this whole system move in and move out very quickly, well, we're seeing conditions improve as time goes on, at least in terms of the storm potential. But unfortunately, the strong winds will still be around later on tonight. I would not be surprised if we see wind advisories later on this evening, and definitely more so for tomorrow, where we should be seeing gusts in excess of 40 miles per hour all across the metro area, especially down by the coast.
Yeah, and the majority of you watching may not have even been under a warning at all this morning, and it's really been the heavy rainfall that you've been, wondering, is this going to cause us some flooding over here? Well, here's a look at the last 3 hours. This is radar estimated rainfall, okay? And when you get into the green shades here, and especially the darker green, so out by the Richmond area, in the last 3 hours, let me put this on here and put some numbers, we're looking at over 2 inches in some of these spots, 3 inches actually. So some good amounts of rainfall, and a lot of this fell within an hour or so. So you're talking 3-inch an hour rainfall rates. Thankfully, it wasn't for terribly long, but that's a good amount of rainfall there, and we could have possibly had some flooding that may have resolved itself since. Now into downtown Houston, now we've had some rain there, obviously. Rainfall totals out by Bel Air, 1.5 inches as we get north of the city over towards Hawthorne Place, 1.2, 1.6. So a good soaking rain has come on through here, and it did roll through Addison right in the middle of the commute. So that may have caused some problems for folks out there on the roadways, maybe stuck in traffic and having to deal with detours from some flooding roads.
Yeah, Tim, as Stephanie Simmons was telling us earlier on, going over all the TrainStar cameras, there were some areas that did show accidents earlier on or that were unfolding at the time, but definitely we did see the ponding on the roadways widespread because of how quickly that rainfall came down, both in the forward progression across the area as well as the downfall rate, and we definitely did see that potential for more accidents to come through. So hopefully everyone heeded the warnings we've been talking about all morning long, that you need to stay off the roads, need to stay out of harm's way dealing with this line of thunderstorms coming through. But we are starting to see a clearing going on up near the Brenham area, Nelsonville area as well, Columbus, over to that vicinity. Winds are still coming out of a south-southwesterly direction, so this is not the cold front just yet. This is a squall line coming through, and that's where we have that initial line of thunderstorms pushing across the area. Cold front's still out there towards the west, and Tim, once that passes, that's when the winds will really pick on up and the air start to dry up.
Right, we were talking about roadways being impacted by the water weather, and Stephanie Simmons is here. She has a new crash to let us know about. Steph?
Yeah, guys, I don't know what we're looking at right now. I'm trying to get 2105 camera pulled up for you because it is really nasty out there. So, Booth, if we have that, can we pull? Yes, thank you very much. You can barely see what's, oh, did it change again? There we go. There we go. It is so crazy out there with the weather. You can barely see what's happening, but I assure you this is not where you want to be right now. So we are looking at a multiple car crash on the eastbound side of the North Beltway. And guys, this is very close to the areas where you were concerned at. This is by John Ralston. So in the middle of Atascocita, just a little bit south of Humble, we've got several lanes blocked, and I don't even want to give you an alternate route because all of those surface streets are going to be dealing with the same amount of activity.
And Stephanie, we just most recently had some footage come on in. This is from Brandon Taylor from Grand Oaks High School area, showing the possibility of a funnel cloud coming through. And if we go ahead and take this video and put it full so we can have everyone take a look at it, we can possibly see this storm system develop. And Tim, yeah, it certainly looks like the potential of a funnel cloud coming on in right there.
Yeah, I'm trying to look. Is that over water?
I can't quite see in that vicinity right there. I got a line of blocking the visibility right there in the distance, but we definitely do have a funnel cloud coming through. Just a question if it's a confirmed ground truth tornado coming down to the ground. We can't see that because there's a little bit of obstruction going on right down towards the horizon.
Right.
But we will have the National Weather Service go out. They're going to go out all across the area, taking a look at wherever those tornado warnings popped up, any images that did come through, seeing if there was potential tornadoes that did come down, and then confirming how strong they were, where they went, how long they were on the ground, so that way people can assess if their areas was potentially impacted by a tornado.
Right, right. And now, thankfully, we don't have any tornado warnings up anymore. But that overarching watch box is for a tornado watch until 4 o'clock. Again, with the speed of this line, it'll be canceled much before that gets here at 4 o'clock. We have one lingering severe thunderstorm warning, and that's up for another 7 minutes or so. I will tell you, looking at it on the radar here, most of that cell has moved clear out of the polygon, the warning polygon. It's moving outside of there. So either they'll cancel it or they will extend it a little bit farther to the east, and this will include more of Chambers County and over just south of Liberty and southern portions of Liberty County there, where it is including portions of it now. But Baytown area, seeing it start to wane a little bit for you. We've got the heavy rain, some gusty winds still, but again, the gusty winds are going to be right along that initial push of the line as it drops on through there. Maybe some embedded gusts within there, but overall, the line itself has been holding together quite well.
And Tim, we have some more video coming in from some of our viewers. This is coming from the Spring area, Grand Oaks High School as well. Yeah, we can certainly see that was a funnel cloud being spotted in the distance. And trying to step back, look at the TV right here next to me. Can't quite tell if it's going down to the ground. Can't see any debris yet in this vicinity. It's a short video, but nonetheless, we can certainly see that we did have, at least with this tornado warning right here, we had evidence of a funnel cloud, so that rotation in the storm cell coming closer and closer towards the surface.
Yeah, and it's been very interesting to get these kind of confirmations via social media. And this is one way, you know, the Weather Service and we as meteorologists can kind of help forecast the weather. Everybody's a part of it, and getting their reports really helps us tell the story a little bit better. We've got that one lingering severe thunderstorm warning here. Not seeing it overall, Addison, the indications of with our velocities of any couplets developing, which is some great news there. Just the straight line winds is going to be the main concern. And you can kind of see that here developing as we look at the loop. Just look at the edge of the greens there as it encounters the reds, and then you got the shifting winds as it encounters the sea breeze there developing out by Galveston. So it's going to be interesting to watch it push its way a little bit farther to the east within the next 20 minutes. This severe thunderstorm warning does expire in 5 minutes, and it looks like it will just be allowed to expire. I don't even know if they will extend it farther off towards the east.
Get some good news, Tim, right there, that we will be seeing this potential system leaving the area very quickly, just as quickly as it entered across the area. But as we're watching that moderate to heavy rain still be an issue just across Liberty County, heading on down across towards the coastal areas, it's making its way towards Brownsville as we speak, heading down the Gulf Freeway down towards Galveston for the next about 10 minutes or so, maybe 15 minutes tops. But up across our western counties, Austin County, Washington County, you guys are clearing on out. Should be also seeing the skies getting a little bit brighter out there as now the worst of the storm system is leaving your vicinity.
Yeah, heavy rain here. And a lot of this here up by Huntsville, Cleveland, Spring is a little bit of the radar being blocked by what's going on around it right now. So I'm not so sure we're seeing widespread heavy rain out here, but certainly still some lingering showers here. But by Brenham, Allen Farm, Columbus, Garwood area, it's all over for you. You're going to start to see your conditions improve rapidly.
All right, some good news right there, Tim.
Yeah.
So we're going to stay on the air for the next several minutes till 10 o'clock when that last warning will be expiring. Then we'll get you back to regularly scheduled programming. But so far we have seen several tornado warnings form and get issued by the National Weather Service. There's also several severe thunderstorm warnings, all part of one big cold front coming through across the region that's going to be helping to kick out this very warm, muggy air mass, replacing it for cooler, drier air mass. But just like during the spring season, during the fall season, you can get a severe weather potential come through, switching out those air masses very quickly. It's getting a little chaotic in the atmosphere, and hence, case in point, we saw what we saw earlier today.
Yeah, absolutely. And this has been an interesting scenario to watch play out because it's moving through at a time that we don't usually expect cold fronts to come on through, in the middle of the morning commute. Usually they're a little bit later in the day. If that was to be the case, as you've been talking about, it would be much more intense. So we dodged a bullet here, but it's going to bring with it some great weather for the next few days.
And as we take a look outside once again, back in towards the weather tracker's vicinity as they are en route to where we talked about that first tornado warning, or first tornado, I should say, being reported up across our northwestern sections of Harris County. We can see a little bit of some, maybe some damage right there to some of those tree tops. So maybe it has some strong winds, kind of snap some branches, part of the treetops coming down, or possibly that's where the tornado dropped down and moved in and then moved out very quickly. But we'll take some more time to look over this area. They'll survey the area, seeing what actually did happen. It'll be easier once the storm system clears the area to see what actually did unfold with that tornado that was reported to come down.
Yeah. Okay, Ashton, so quickly, let's look at, looks like they have reissued the severe thunderstorm warning for a little bit farther east until 10:30 now. So it's for this area here, right along that line for gusty winds. Let me see what the exact messaging is from the Weather Service here. It's sometimes lagging a little bit, but overall the concern has been, until 10:30, and this is for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts indicated by radar. So that being said, we aren't far from the radar site, so this has a little bit more credence to it, I guess you could say, that it is picking up those winds being stronger closer to the surface there. So this one here will be allowed to expire, but it has been pushed a little bit farther to the east because, of course, the line is racing east at around 30 miles an hour.
And certainly, Tim, we can certainly see why they wanted to go ahead and extend that warning, because we've been finding those strong winds coming around. I'm not surprised that they do see those winds. Radar estimated 60 miles per hour, especially when we're seeing more lightning strikes being reported, a little more energetic portion of the line of thunderstorms right there. So that's probably the reason why right there we saw that thunderstorm warning being extended further east. Places like Anahuac, Winnie, Seabreeze, those are the areas where we're going to be seeing this line come through at about 35 miles per hour.
Yeah, you know what? Let's put a storm track. Oh, whoops, wrong one. Sorry. Let me switch that up here, and we'll put the line here. 35 miles an hour. It's moving off to the east, so it'll be like towards the Winnie area here. And there's some of the town names. Winnie itself at 1026. So about 26-minute lead time for you there as it races right along I-10 and eventually out of our viewing area here. But the main concern is what it has been all morning, is for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and the potential here for some very, very heavy rainfall. So that's the latest there. This will, again, be gone by the time the game gets underway later on this evening at 7:09 out at Minute Maid for Game 2 of the World Series as the Astros take on the Braves. But Addison, we've been covering tornado warnings this morning and severe thunderstorm warnings, but thankfully things are starting to calm down a bit as this races east and out of our area.
That's some good news there, right, Tim? And thank you, everybody, for joining us here with the severe weather coverage. We'll bring you back to regularly scheduled programming.
Lead